Well, for those of you in the pits here and for those of you tuning in from live around the world, welcome back to Kart Chasers live coverage. It is time to kick off the 2024 National Karting season. We are down here in sunny Homestead-Miami, Florida at the AMR Homestead-Miami Motorplex presented by MG Tires. My name is Andrew Clemens here. Alongside me this weekend for commentary will be Caleb Vieska, David Land, and Alexander Searle will be getting you all the intel from down on pit lane. We want to take a moment to send our best wishes to Rob Howden, who is recovering from a bit of lip surgery over the last week. He will be back for the SKUSA Winter Series season finale at the beginning of February. But for this weekend here, Caleb, it's a pleasure to have you come and join me here in the broadcast booth for what is a record-setting turnout here in Homestead.
Exactly. Thank you, Xander. I'm really glad to be here. And like you said, right, it's the numbers this weekend look really good, just under 300 entries here for this weekend. And already from yesterday, we saw that the action is beginning to ramp up early on.
We look down on the grid here as warm-up begins. So the format today, identical to tomorrow for round one and then round number two of this 4-round winter championship. Warm-up sessions getting onto the circuit here, beginning with the TKG Kart Republic Mini Swift Division, the first of 8 classes that will run. We'll have 9 run groups through the warm-up and qualifying sessions. Actually, in qualifying, they'll be split into more to divide all the classes. This is the KA100 division. Upwards of 65 total drivers. Only 44 will make the main event starting grid later this afternoon, as they'll be split in 2 pre-finals, and then the top drivers will transfer automatically. A last chance qualifier will fill the final few spots on the lineup, and then they will make up a sold-out grid for the mains. It is also a sold-out class in Micro Swift and KA100 Sr. Nearly every division right up near the cap at 44 drivers in total. The Mini Swift drivers, I believe, right around that 40 number, as well as we are watching the first few tiptoe their way around on a bit of a damp racetrack here. And for the last few nights this week, we have seen overnight rain come through Homestead, and already we got one wide there. That was Marco Sammet on the BJR MDR blue and yellow LN kart that nearly goes around, and one driver just tagged the wall coming out of turn number 11. It's now moved rookie Josh Bergman up to be the leader of the train, but everyone's still on cold tires and a very cold racetrack that will get hot. We're expecting temperatures in the mid-80s here today, so it is definitely feeling like a summer afternoon in sunny South Florida.
Yes, of course. It may be called the Winter Series, but it's everything far from cold here in Florida. And already, I mean, you see Marco Sammet struggling a little bit with tire temperature early on in his outlap. So definitely going to be something to watch as the weekend progresses here, Xander.
As always here, as we are live on YouTube, make sure to hit that like button, hit that share button. Let's get as many eyeballs as we can on the superstars of the past, present, and future that populate the SuperKarts USA class structure. There's Marco Sammet making a move back up, and we'll get a bit of a better idea of where they all stack up as we take a look at the first few times coming through. This will be the first lap really up to full speed with the warm-up lap completed. Josh Bergman will take that crew through the final corner and onto the front straightaway. And again, still a lot of standing water just kind of off the side of the circuit, but at least the surface seems clean. But there is no grip. In fact, we'll have another spin down in turn number 1 going around there right off the rip. So quite a few drivers, unfortunately, not having as much grip as they'd like here in morning warm-up. This is a great look at a newer angle we've got this year, both down by turn number 1 and turn number 4. A little bit of elevation to give you some better eyeballs on the racing here as Marco goes down the inside on Bergman and will take over the lead of this 4-car pack. Yesterday was our first look at where the quickest drivers kind of stacked up coming into 2024, because in the youth divisions, the micro, the mini, the junior classes, a lot of drivers moving up the ranks. Nearly the entire top 10 from last year's Mini Swift Championship moved up into the junior ranks. Only driver that did not was your last year's champion, Alessandro Truscio. He was quickest in final practice yesterday. As the second laps are completed here, we'll bring you through the next group. There's a look at a couple of the Trinity Karting Group Kart Republic boys. Benja Fernandez, the privateer, leads them down to turn number 1 and about 5 or 6 more behind him. He is your quickest driver at the moment in the 106, as we've got another one into the wall there on the outside at turn 1.
Yeah, a lot of drivers, seems like they're struggling here for grip here early on, first session of the day after a very humid morning last night. But Xander, I really want to point out, anything off track is still super wet here in Homestead-Miami, Florida. They received a lot of rain last weekend and throughout the week, and it's still evident that anything off track is still super wet, and there's a lot of mud there on the outside. So anybody who ends up going off track is going to have a wild ride.
Yeah, I mean, the entire area down here in South Florida has just been pummeled with showers the last 2 weeks, really. Test weekend had a lot of rain on Sunday. We had a good amount of rain on Thursday, and in fact, it went into Friday morning as well. So really not that many dry sessions these drivers have had. They had 5 rounds of practice Thursday, 5 rounds more on Friday, and I believe 4 on Wednesday if they were here all week. But only so many of those were really any that you could actually get some data from or learn the lines and braking marks on the circuit. And today will be completely different. It's the first really perfectly dry day. It's obviously still a bit cool here this morning at a cold racetrack. Beyond that, when we get to around the early afternoon with pre-final action, it's going to be a totally different circuit because one of the big storylines this weekend is the introduction of the brand new homologated MG Red tire compound that's used in 6 of the 8 divisions, the micro, mini, junior classes, the KA100 Sr class, and master class as well. And so for all 6 of those divisions, the word on the street is we're seeing a lot more rubber laid down on the circuit. Times are up anywhere from 5 to 7/10 of a second over the previous compound. And so that is going to grip this racetrack up a ton with nearly 200 drivers in those classes alone. But as the checkered flies on our first warm-up gear of the morning, Fernandez, your quickest driver in the 106. Alessandro Truccio, quickest in final practice yesterday, ends up in second at the moment. But again, it is still populating a few more there through the leaderboard. Marco Samet, he drops a little bit further down. Maxwell Macha, Rocco Simone, Emil Hernandez Maroon, Royce Vega on the final lap will jump up into the 6th position as it continues to cycle on through here in Mini Swift warm-up. A 56 flat compared to yesterday with where they ended in final practice at around 3 p.m. Eastern. They were down in the 51, so it is still a very slow racetrack compared to how we ended on a Friday afternoon, and I think it may take a little bit.
Yeah, it'll definitely take a little bit, but let's take a look back at some of the issues that we saw in that last session here, Xander.
Yeah, here, we'll cue it up, our instant replay, courtesy here at all SuperKarts USA Pro Tour Winter Series events. A handful of drivers going around early on in the session as everyone was finding the limits, and it was a lot lower than yesterday. There you see Marco Samet's big moment there at the end of the session, and then a few drivers kind of tagging the outside wall in turn number 1 and turn number 11. Of course, those are at the end of the 2 longest straightaways here, pushing about 700, 800 feet, and then a few more all tagging into the barriers. So multiple drivers going a bit over the limit here in the very first session of the day. But we're just one in. Luckily, when they get back out onto the racetrack, it should clear up quite a ways for qualifying with the entire 9-group rotation. 2 KA100 Jr groups, of course. This is the first one getting lined up on the grid right now. KA100 Sr will follow, but 65 KA Juniors, one of the biggest turnouts this class has seen in SuperKarts USA history. But beyond that, definitely the biggest one it's ever seen at the SKUSA Winter Series. Again, we talked about it at the beginning of the show, and all week that's been the other big storyline is how many people are packed into this place. There is, of course, plenty of parking around the Homestead-Miami Speedway just across the street, and that kind of goes through all kinds of grass lots around us. But it's very rare that we have ever seen, I don't believe any event in this facility's history has seen cars and paddock parked all the way out to the road, way beyond where the normal paddock ends up lying. So that's a cool feeling to see here. It's just a different energy when you come down to South Florida into this facility. Everyone packed in tight, and of course, sun setting early in the day at 6 o'clock, but there was a lot of activity last night trying to make some last-minute changes off only a couple, again, as we mentioned, of dry sessions, and it looks like, based on the times from that mini-swift session, it will not look anything like what these drivers experienced yesterday afternoon here for this morning warm-up in KA100 Juniors. So they'll have to be on their toes as they remain on the grid, and there's still a handful of karts to get removed from the surface before it goes green. But of course, David Land, Alexander Searle, they'll be chatting with us down on pit lane. So let's get set and ready, and we'll be sending it down to them here in just a few moments to get their thoughts and what they've picked up in a full couple days of practice here and where everybody else feels like they currently stand in terms of this weekend. It really sets the tone for the first part of your season. It always helps to kick things off with a good result, and to get a good result, it feels a lot better when you come off of a hot and fast Friday afternoon, because that's exactly the conditions that we are expecting later on today. In the meantime, though, for KA100 Jr, like we mentioned, so many new drivers moving up into the class. A good amount from last year remaining, including the Super Nationals champion, double champion in both junior classes, Turner Brown. He enters probably as one of the odds-on favorites here this weekend.
Correct, yeah, Turner Brown being one of the favorites here this weekend. Big stories of Stephen Miller moving up to senior as well. He was in that junior class. Obviously one of the contenders all year long last year. But this year, like you said, Turner Brown, one of the favorites to start off the season here on a high after ending last season on a high at the Supernats 26. And he's looking to bring that momentum right into this year here in 2024, Xander.
Well, when you look back at results, of course, yesterday, the fastest half of the group that will lead us off, it was the lone remaining junior driver from last year in the massive Rawlson Performance Group contingent, Diego Ardulas, that was quickest over junior standout Isaac Malkit, who is going to be queued up for a pretty big season as the privateer runs in the 878. Enzo Vidmontien returns, Salvador de Vecchia, and more. But this is the bottom half group that will hit the track first, everyone that was below the cut line from the half split in final practice. Let's go down and send a good morning here to David Land on pit lane. Dave, you got us?
Yeah, thanks, Xander. Good morning. Welcome to a very humid pit here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. But I want to talk a couple of things, a couple of storylines in the pro shifter category, which we'll see later on today. The first storyline, I think, is Alan Issenbart. He's got more laps around here than the groundskeeper, and he's been fast all weekend in his Sodi Kart. I think he's a very strong chance to win this race. And the other storyline I'm looking at least this morning, is the silly season move of Mateus Morgado to pro shifter here in SKUSA. Now, he has experience in Europe, and I was surprised to hear from him yesterday an incredible amount of confidence. He believes he's going to win both races this weekend. What do you boys in the booth think?
Well, there's no surprise that a former FIA world champion has a lot of confidence, as again, a few drivers getting their confidence shafted there in turn one with a handful more spins. 5 in total there, all parked around the first corner on the racetrack. But for Mateus Morgado to have that kind of confidence coming in, of course, he did run a KZ2 campaign over in Europe last year, so it's not his first ever race in a gearbox machine, but this is probably the highest prospect that has moved up into the pro shifter category since maybe AJ Myers about 8 or 9 years ago when he debuted at the Supernats, coming off of his US Pro Kart Series Pro Division X30, at the time Leopard engine, the previous engine counterpart. So for Mateus Morgado to come in, that's probably the biggest one that will maybe have a target on his back, or again, high expectations for a rookie in the division. Caleb?
Yeah, correct. I mean, Mateus Morgado was in the top 4 yesterday. It seemed like he was super quick already off the bat, but not that big of a change for him. Obviously racing KZ2 at the FIA World Championship Finals last year. So Mateus Morgado is going to definitely be one to watch here this weekend, Xander.
Now let's take a look back here while we watch more and more drivers go a little bit wide there down by turn number 4. We do have the replay of what went down at turn number 1 at the end of the opening lap here in KA100 Jr presented by Nash Motorsports. Actually, that I would believe was one of our mini drivers from earlier, so that was from the previous session. We'll pick up what happened on the KA100 Juniors in a few moments, but at least now the first few laps are coming in. So let's take a look at who tops the boards here from Q2. Again, these are the drivers that were just around the mid-30s and back from there. Nathan Dupuis is your quickest at the moment on the 841. Quentin Macpherson currently sits second over Arthur Barbe, Carter Barkis, Tristan Murphy, Jackson Deal, Sebastian Rice, Roman Felber, Juan Jose Paramo, and Cash Felber down in 11th as Levi Sangera now moves up into the 3rd spot still. So a lot of time left in this one. We expect some of those names to change. The first driver outside the cut line from final practice yesterday was Sebastian Rice in the 822 at a 50.7. They're about 2 seconds off of what he hit in final practice. Here's a look coming down to turn number 11, and he'll put another lap in. That's Nathan Dupuis, number 841, black and white Speed Concepts Racing red speed. He'll put a 53.42, still about a second and a half off of yesterday, and using a lot of the inside curbing to help get that kart rotated for not having as much grip here early this morning.
Yeah, correct. It seems like these drivers are supposed to here struggling for grip early on, but as the weekend progresses and as the day progresses, we're going to see the track just improve to get faster here, Xander.
Let's go down to pit lane once again here. Alexander Searle, David Land are getting us some more intel here through the morning warm-up sessions. What do you boys got for us?
Thank you, Xander. Yeah, let's talk about the X30 Sr class because silly season was upon us earlier on this year. I mean, we had guys, Harley Keeble signed full-time, maybe a bit of shifter this year as well. Brandon Carr, a big storyline for him, moves from RPM to Trinity Karting Group for the Kart Republic official U.S. team. He's been fast all weekend. Unfortunately, was a little bit sick yesterday, a little under the weather, but looking to be good this morning. Another guy to talk about, Dalton Haynes, signs with Sodi Kart USA. They have been maybe the team to watch this weekend with Harley Keeble topping the timing sheets for about half the sessions yesterday. But how about that guy, Ryan Norberg, tops the board in happy hour. He looks to be the guy to beat, just like Jacob Kolar, hometown hero, top 3 in yesterday's happy hour. Look for more from the kid there. What do you guys think, Xander?
Well, the X30 Pro class is always a division to watch when we come down to Homestead. This track just races so well. Of course, who could forget the barn burner 10-driver lead group battle last year where Donovan Bonilla was able to get his first career win that catapulted him to the confidence that he needed to go and steal the show at SKUSA Super Nationals 26, win the biggest race on the calendar after taking most of the summer off from his American racing schedule. However, for the rest of the division, when you talk silly season, of course, Dalton Haynes and Harley Keeble, that's a heck of a 1-2 punch for the Sodi Racing USA by PK Sports boys. Ryan Norberg returning for a full-time season. Austin Garrison for his first full-time season in nearly 5 years is back. And of course, he got a big win last year here at the SKUSA Winter Series. Nearly won the title battling with Norberg and Turney, coming off of only 2 race weekends the year before. He comes off of 10 and 2 race wins last year, so he's as hot as he has ever been at 25 years old. And then the rest of the X30 Pro division, you have rookie Ernesto Rivera, who is one of the top prospects in all of North American karting right now, in his final kind of swan song appearance with the RPG Cosmic Group for the month of January. And then you go through the rest of the silly season movers like Brandon Carr, like Trinity Karting Group, being the official Kart Republic US race team, and bringing Finnegan Bailiff back up to the headline division and supporting Gavin Bailiff and Pro Shifter. So with X30, anyone's guess, but of course an easy pick, as always, is flying Ryan Norberg, Mr. 8-time top the boards in happy hour yesterday. So he is a safe pick to go here at a racetrack. He's got a lot of experience being a Florida native. Austin Garrison, of course, a winner from last year. Donovan Bonilla was not too much of a factor throughout the practice day, but was kind of silently there. And then when we look at Homestead, you also have to talk, of course, about ADT. Alessandro DiTullio and the Inter MS boys brought over the biggest name that joins the X30 Pro grid for his first full U.S. season, Danilo Albanese, who will be moving over to Pro Shifter for the Pro Tour. Yesterday, he was outside the top 10, though, 13th in final practice. DiTullio in 9th. However, both of those guys are one of the few top drivers that ran the full session, so maybe we didn't get a good look at their single lap speed, Caleb.
Yeah, correct. I mean, Alessandro DiTullio has a lot of laps around this track, as well as Ryan Norberg, so every weekend here, Alessandro DiTullio is going to be a driver to watch, as well as Danilo Albanese. You have a guy like that to share data with all weekend long, so DiTullio definitely going to be one to watch. And I think he's only going to get better as the weekend progresses. Struggled a little bit yesterday, but I think today is going to be the day to watch ADT.
Well, as the KA100 Juniors are wrapped up for their first group, the second group, the fast half from final practice, is ready to go. Let's take a look at some of the thrills and spills from that opening session for the KA100 Jr Q2 group on your screen right now. Again, first lap already, there was Nathan Dupuis going through turn number 3, but he was fine. It was not him. It was, in fact, multiple drivers. And then as everyone spun out, everyone was quick to get on the binders behind him, and that spun a few more cars down by the first corner. So multiple drivers collected down in turn number 1 with probably a little bit of damage, and a quick turnaround to switch over to brand new MG Red tires for qualifying, along with potentially making some repairs on their machines. So hopefully a little better luck, and that's of course to be expected from the drivers that were in the top 30-ish from final practice yesterday. Again, over 65 in the class. It just makes it seem that for all these mini rookies moving up into junior, you would think maybe a top half of the field result would be great. Honestly, again, the top half of the field really is going to be just getting to that main event. I'd say for any mini superstar moving up, including Super Nationals frontrunner and winner Michael McGoy, if he could just transfer through to the main without having to go to the LCQ out of a grid this big and this stacked in KA Junior, that would be very, very solid for him.
Yeah, correct. Definitely for Michael McGoy to make it all the way up to the final and to keep that pace consistent all weekend long will be important for him. But also some other drivers from Mini that moved up into the junior category, Marco Romero. He was a standout in the mini classes, and now he's going to be one to watch here this weekend for the junior category.
They were at least all in the top half of the group, at least some of the big names from the mini division last year. You said Marco Romero, you talked about Michael McGoy, you add into that Travis Pettit, who was a race winner last year, Max Christia, who was solid last year. Problems on the grid right now, though. That is one of these Zanella Racing Tony karts. Looks to be maybe the 806 machine that has yet to get off the line. They're obviously got the motor fired and are spinning the axle, so they're just trying to get it from being unflooded. And we'll see if that driver can make it out here for this session. That's Alexander Vanchev getting set to roll. So the first few of the fast group, though, and led by Little Sizzle, Isaac Malcutt, who, of course, had a handful of major race wins, especially was a headliner in the Stars Championship Series last year. This year for Isaac Malcutt, after having a full year of junior done, he enters as, again, one of the many favorites we expect to see top of the charts. He was second in final practice, and as he leads the field down to turn number 1, he looks to be well in control here with the slippery conditions for his first lap at speed. No traffic in front as most of the grid got out well in front of him, so he's kind of towing the line. A little bit of a bobble further back. I believe that might be Travis Pettit lined up right behind him as we see a couple more OTK machines as one of the Nash Motorsports drivers here in the sponsored KA Junior division again. This weekend's coverage and all of our coverage this year powered by AccelerationKartRacing.com. You'll be able to stay tuned throughout the broadcast today, especially when we go behind the subscription paywall for KC Premium members for pre-finals and finals, discount codes, and all of the like coming your way here in 2024 from our fantastic title partner at shopakr.com. Now your leaderboard on the left-hand side of the screen. First lap's coming on through. Let's take a look at where they will cycle by. Malcutt sets the pace at a 52.95. That seems to be the quickest as Max Christia we ride on board with there on the TKG Kart Republic drops into third. Enzo Vidmontien, one of the veterans and front runners from last year's junior division, is back this year alongside Ardiles and Supernats winner Turner Brown. And last year, his first podium came at the SKUSA Winter Series, Jackson Wolney. On the Rollison Performance Group Cosmic, the 896, a little bit further back in the pack, has just gone to the top at a 52.145. But same story as the first group. Still a good ways off of the lap times that they ran at the end of Friday.
Correct. The track definitely still has a long way to go here, but for Jackson Wolney, a breakout year for him last year, and out here once again at the top of the timing sheets as it stands here at the moment. Fionn Shi right behind him in second. Turner Brown up there as well in third. So you see these guys already kind of trying to rubber in this track early on and just get to grips with it before qualifying rolls around in about an hour, 2 hours time here, Xander.
Yeah, we've still got plenty of time for adjustments in the track to get faster overall. The sun shining is going to help raise those track temperatures. It'll get pretty greasy with how hot we're expecting the temps to be by the mid-afternoon, but it should be pretty peak conditions for qualifying. And for those main events that run at the end of the day, the X30 Juniors, the Pro Master Shifters, and the Pro X30s, we expect all three of those classes to probably pick the speed back up by the time we get to their 22-lap finals this afternoon, which that, of course, will also be a big moment. That's why I think Tullio and Albanese might be a bit of a dark horse pick for the main, because by running that full session, both of them hit their fastest laps of the session at the very end, around laps 12, 13, and 14. Paulie Massimino was in that bunch. He jumped up into the top 10 late as well in final practice, and that's around when you want to peak when you look at the main event, and that was right at main event time as well. Here's a look at Sebastian Garzone. He was a contender last year in multiple different main events on that green and white and black Orsolone Racing Tony Kart as he peeks to the inside of one of the TKG Kart Republics. Garzone at the moment is your fastest driver, and he's already inching closer to times they set yesterday in final practice. A 50.3 for Garzone right there. That's already quicker than everyone from the Q2 group by a lot in warm-up and quicker than where they were in Friday practice as well. Here as we're halfway through Q1, the fast group for KA100Jr. Garzone leads the way. We'll go back down to pit lane here with Alex. On Here, we'll try that again. Let's send it down to Alex here. We'll check it to you. I believe we've got you all set up here with Alessandro DiTullio. Alex, take it away. Checkered flag flying here in Nash Motorsports KA100Jr. Final laps coming on through. Sebastian Garzone, 50.279. Turner Brown, final lap, will jump close there to second at a 50.314. Enzo Vidmontien ends up in third as it cycles through. We'll wait on the results to populate there on the ticker as it's a little bit behind there on screen. So we'll pull those off for you here now. But Garzone ends up as your quickest driver. Brown second, Vidmontien third, Ty Fisher fourth, Bernardo Gentile fifth, Ethan Skymanichik in sixth, Walter Jenkins, Alexander Vanchev, Diego Ardiles, and Max Weiland the top 10 here as the session comes to a close.
Well, you're gonna need some more gear than just your helmet. Why don't you go to shopakr.com. They got their inventory online and they'll ship it the same day if you order before 5:30 p.m. Eastern.
They got shoes?
Yep.
Gloves?
Yep.
Rib protectors?
Got those too.
Can they make me go fast?
No.
Here at Acceleration Kart Racing, we've got everything you need to get on track. What happens next? Well, that's on you. Check us out online at shopakr.com.
Here at MPG Motorsports, our main goal is to provide the best pathway into professional motorsports for our entire team, drivers and mechanics alike. We're based out of Whiteland Raceway Park in Indiana. For more information, contact us at chase@mpg-motorsports.com.
Sony Racing USA by PK Sports. KA100 Sr onto the racetrack now, and most of the group elected to go right off the bat onto the circuit. And again, a sold-out class here in this one. 46 drivers in total, which will be the highest number that we'll see on the circuit at one time today, as they were just 2 over the normal cap, but will not run a last chance qualifier. Big story from final practice though, Caleb, as we know this group will be divided in 2 for qualifying, a fast group and a slow group, like the majority of classes, upwards of 20 in total, to kind of make the track clear. Alessandro DiTullio, Dalton Haynes, 2 of the drivers that were expected to be near the front of the field here, disqualified, underweight in final practice. They will go to the slow group today for qualifying, and they will be there tomorrow as well. On screen, Alessandro's teammate in the Interim S colors and the T1D Racers sponsored livery, Colin Lloyd, who was a driver that got to run only a couple of races last year, but man was he impressive. Won here at the SKUSA Winter Series, won over for his first ever visit at Utah Motorsports Campus, and now he's set up to be the full-time KA100cc driver for the interim Kart Republic boys. So very cool to see for Colin. Here's a look, though, at Dalton Haynes and his new colors on the Sodi USA PK Sport machine. And again, an underwhelming Friday where the speed was decent for him and as well for Keeble and Pro X30, but having to fight already with one arm behind his back to start the day, going to the slow group in qualifying, and with the track progression, we're seeing upwards of a second session to session in warm-up. It won't be that drastic in qualifying, but it still is a big, big improvement to be able to go out in the second group and not have to be the first one on the racetrack. That's what Dalton's going to have to do here today. The same for ADT as well, two drivers that were in the top 10 for most of practice day.
Yeah, correct. Definitely for qualifying, it's going to be really tricky for Dalton Haynes and Alessandro DiTullio. DiTullio has a handful of laps, like I said already earlier today, and he's going to know how to go about qualifying. On your screen now is Stephen Miller, one of the juniors that moved up and already making some noise here early on in this weekend, Xander.
Yeah, Stephen Miller there on the Nash Motorsports colors. He switched over to that camp mid-summer last year. Still, I was able to get some big results out of them, but for his first foray into senior, he was fast yesterday. The question will be how he's able to race with the veterans here, which there's a handful in 100cc, and that's why it's a nice transition before moving into the pro categories later on. We saw him do double duty last year, just 100cc junior to start the year. I'd imagine we'll see Stephen Miller behind the wheel of a Pro X30 car before the year is done, though, as he makes his way out of turn number 3.
Out of turn number 3 and now into the turn number 4 section. One of the biggest passing zones that we see here all weekend long as he goes past New Orleans native Sawyer Roussel there. One of his first weekends on the national circuit here in the KA100 class, Xander.
Yeah, the Team GWR camp picking him up. Another couple drivers joining the Gary Willis Driver Development Academy that he's got. We saw Noah Rosser, who won the Tillotson T4 Nations Cup last year and had a couple of good runs, had a big moment in Orlando. And when we were talking about moments of the year, he sent a message. He's like, man, if you had pass of the year, my 4 drivers I pass around the outside on the Orlando hairpin's got to be in the mix of it. I said, well, maybe not this year, but if we add that category and you're able to do it again, you'll be definitely nominated because that was one heck of a move here. As the boards continue to populate right now, Colin Lloyd is showing on your screen top of the leaderboard, but it's actually a little bit further back on the pack to find the fastest driver, and that is Alessandro DiTullio in the 920. Austin Olds has the MPG Motorsports Kart Republic up the leaderboard as well. He currently sits in the 4th spot. Raheem Alabai in 2nd. Emma Scarborough on the Zanella Tony Kart in 3rd. Haynes 5th. Miller, Rosser, Ivana Richards, Bernardo Valverde, and Leo Escorpioni, the top 10 as it stands currently.
Right outside the top 10, Ernesto Rivera, one of his last races here in the States. So for him, it seems like he's struggling a little bit here for pace, but I won't be surprised to see him right up to the top of the timing screens later on today, as now Stephen Miller with a purple lap time of 49.90 for Stephen Miller in his rookie campaign in the senior category.
Here's Haynes down to the inside. That's on another one of the MPG Motorsports Kart Republics. Actually, I believe that is on Austin Olds. So 2 drivers that are still in the top 10. Haynes went 2nd last time, trailing the 950. Now he'll get bumped to 3rd as ADT crosses the line and goes faster. 49.905 for Stephen Miller that time by the start-finish line. For him, comparing that to where the times were yesterday for KA100 Sr in final practice, 49.5. So I'd say the track is not far off now. They're only 4/10 off, and they're coming to what should be the checkered flag here at the stripe as Haynes crosses the line. Checkers in the air. Dalton Haynes not going to go too much better as he had to make the pass that lap. So that'll leave Stephen Miller, who improves again, 49.83. Still waiting on a handful of the other top 5 drivers to cross the loop there. Leo Escorpioni right now in the 4th spot. Ernesto Rivera in 5th. ADT as well 2nd. They'll cross it here later on. Rivera, then DiTullio. Both of them able to go better than Stephen Miller. And Alessandro DiTullio, 49.76. A little boost of confidence going into qualifying. That'll be a bit of an undertaking, having to fight his way out of the slow group. But he ends quickest here in morning warm-up for Sodi Racing USA KA100 Sr. here at the SKUSA Winter Series. Kart Chasers coverage, of course, presented and powered by Acceleration Kart Racing at shopakr.com. What else stands out to you here, Caleb, as you look down the leaderboard here in KA Senior?
Donovan Bonilla currently sits in 6th here as it stands on the timing. So a little bit of work for him to do. Not too far off in 6th, but his teammate Ernesto Rivera obviously up in 2nd as it goes down. Scarborough, if I'm not mistaken. Is this her rookie season in seniors, Xander? It is. So for her to be this far up the field, I mean, good. She was one of the standout drivers in the junior class as well. Colin Lloyd falling down to 12th. So he's definitely going to go back to the 10, look at data with Tutulio, and see what he can do to improve and work his way up the field here.
Austin Olds as well was up in the top 5, ends up down in the 15th spot, but didn't get really clear racetrack to put a lap together till the checkered flag flew. That best lap for him came back on lap number 3, half a second off the pace. Now we switch gears down to the youngest superstars, where it is pretty much anyone's guess as who will become the new standouts in the Micro Swift division, presented by Team U-Race. And Zane Burgess, who is one of the younger drivers still in the class, was one of the youngest ones, if not the youngest, last year there in the 255. He was the quickest driver in happy hour yesterday, one of the only returning front runners to the U-Race Micro Swift division here for 2024. The rest of the field, a full class, again a sold-out grid of 44 deep in this division. Questioning though who else will join him at the top of the boards. Liam Nachawati was fast at points throughout last year. Leo Simone, younger brother of Rocco Simone, who was a standout superstar in micro and mini divisions in his time running those classes. We'll see if younger brother can go quick as well. Byron Bornman, a driver returning from last year. We've got one spun down in turn number 1 already. It's one of the Team Bennett drivers that has gone around. Might be one of the Goldschach brothers that has spun at the entry to turn number 1. But Zane Burgess lined up behind one of the Team Ferris Racing Kart Republic. Good place to be. A little bit of a tow there off of the 266 as they head on to the turn 5 complex. Danny O'Gara, another driver coming back from last year in a partial campaign, started to kind of make a little bit of stride at the end of the season. He was second fastest yesterday. Talked to team owners Chase Jones, Race Liberante, and Billy Vincent, and they felt very confident about their micro and mini contingent here this weekend. Danny O'Gara, a good amount of confidence coming off of Friday to go P2 out of 44 here in U-Race Micro. So let's get a good look at where they stack up when they cross the line this time by. Marcelo Flores, Zane Burgess there will go quickest out of the group at a 55.049. Flores second. The 266 that was on our screen, one of the TFR machines, that's Anthony Mazzaculo. He's 12th as the times begin to populate. Burgess's time still holding strong there at the top. And we're waiting still for about the last 10 or so to cross the line, including the 267, yesterday's second quickest, Danny O'Gara in the number 267. 8th place on the outlap there for Danny as they come on through.
Yeah, it seems like here for Danny O'Gara, trying to find the space on track to really set in a good lap time here as he was passing some traffic early on. But for these guys, the Sodi guys, coming into this weekend, the Sodi Kart Racing USA team has been one of the favorites all weekend in the younger categories. They've had a handful of testing here throughout the entire winter, the entire offseason, and a little bit in the later parts of last year, speaking to some of those guys. Brody Stoffel as well, one of the standouts. He was P3 yesterday at the end of practice. A good standout happy hour for him yesterday, and today let's see what he can do here in qualifying.
I believe David Land has got some more intel for us down on pit lane as well, so we'll get set to send it on down to Dave here in just a moment for an interview, and the micros will continue to put some more laps together here in warm-up. Zane Burgess of 54.296. David Land, Alexander Searle on pit lane. Let's go down to you boys.
Thank you, Xander. Here with Alessandro Tutulio, ADT. You know, yesterday's K happy hour was, you ended at an all-time high until the scale line, right? So you came in light. You're in the slow group of qualifying today, but I'm sure this boosts your confidence a little bit in this practice session.
Yeah, the pace here in KA is pretty good. Unfortunately, we were a little bit light yesterday in the happy hour, so we had to start in the slow group and in the back. But I think if I plan it out right and there's no incidents in front, no water going on track, we should be good.
Now let's shift focus here to X30, right? Because on one side, you're really quick. On the X30 side, for your standards, probably not where you'd want to be. I mean, did you guys find anything overnight to challenge you guys up front?
I don't know. We need to try it now in warm up and see what happens. But yeah, we're missing a little bit in X30. A few tenths there to fight in the front. And then in KA, as long as I qualify, I think top 5 should be good for today.
All right, thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
So Alessandro DeTullio still focused here, and again, running double duty. You can't get too high or low off one class because you got to get back down to neutral mentally for the other one. As warm-up continues to roll through, 25 seconds to go. Zane Burgess is still the fastest. Brody Stoffel, Jake Manalio, Alvaro Medeiros moving up the boards. He was inside the top 10 yesterday. Alvaro in the 2:05, 3/10 off of Burgess' time, but a good lap nonetheless. Brody Stoffel, Jake Manalio, Santiago Orioli, your top 5. Bernardo Goubert, Dominic Gaddis, Marcelo Flores is 8th, Danny Ramirez is 9th, Parker Stewart down in 10th, just ahead of O'Gara by a couple of hundredths as the checkers begin to fly. So we'll continue to roll through here as they go over to turn number 11 and come down to the final run onto the front straightaway. Burgess in the middle of a pack. I don't know if he'll go any quicker this time as he pulls out the pass down by turn number 11. Here comes the PK Sodi Racing USA machine across the line. Checkers in the air, no improvement. Burgess' time will sit from lap number 3, 53.785 as we keep our eyes on the score charts here for the front runners.
Yeah, behind Zane Burgess is Alvaro Medeiros, in second. Santiago Orioli in third. Not able, he did go fastest in that 4th lap, yet to cross the line here and receive the checkered flag. Brody Stoffel stays in 4th with a 54.321. Jake Manalio in 5th. Bernardo Goubert coming across the line, finished 6th. Dominic Gaddis in 7th. Cameron Johnson 8th. Leo Simone in 9th. Marcelo Flores in 10th. And Danny Ramirez currently sits in 11th.
KA100 Master onto the circuit now, presented by Alessandro's Racing. Ruben Ravello on the Alessandro's Racing machine, I believe, is your quickest, or at least he was last time by. Just showed him up there with Miguel Mir and Michelle Garrido, both going a little bit quicker. And so Garrido, 51.943. Here comes another run by the stripe this time. Ravello still showing on the top of the boards there on your screen. Garrido actually did go a tick quicker there. Alain Girardi, Diego Rodriguez now moving up the leaderboard also. 51.8714 Diego, as there is Miguel Mir, I believe, on the Orsilon Racing Tony Kart in the 477. Backing off for a little more space behind, I believe, the 428 or 426 of Diego Rodriguez. Biggest turnout the K100 Master class has seen, 20 drivers in total. This class was actually on the chopping block right before Christmas. Weren't sure if we were even going to get 10 to make it enough of a division, and it doubled. 20 drivers here to kick off the season in Miami.
Yeah, of course, a great showing for by some of the oldest drivers that we're going to see this weekend, the KA Masters. They always deliver when it comes to the racing. So to see 20 drivers, it really goes to the testament that this weekend has been one of the biggest entries that we've seen so far at the SKUSA Winter Series so far. On your screen, still Miguel Mir and Diego Rodriguez, who currently falls back to second. Mir falls back to sixth. Rodriguez back up to the top of the timing sheets, a 51.707 for him, and for Miguel Garrido is currently in second with a 51.757.
And that's continuing to just get faster and faster here. That was lap 4. This will be the final time by. You saw Miguel Mir back off that time to try and get a good run at Diego Rodriguez. 4 seconds counting down, getting set to come to the line. Is Miguel Mir going to get a big toe lap? I would imagine so. He backed off to 5 car lengths away. He's pulled back close to about 3 car lengths away. Coming down the backstretch, checkers in the air for the first few drivers to get by the stripe. And as we come out of the final turn, Rodriguez and Mir, the 2 drivers at the top of the boards or near it. Mir will not go fast enough, 51.71. Michelle Garrido will go quickest, 51.67. Now he'll get bumped. Mario Dominguez of the 455 to the top by 600. Rodriguez back to third, Mir fourth, Alain Giraldi fifth, Lucas Iglesias 6th, Ming Nanju 7th, Adamar Callargo 8th, Ruben Ravello 9th, and Scott Carapolati the top 10 here as time comes to a close in KA100 Master. A close spread for your top 7. Back to Ming Nanju at a 3/10 spread. Then it goes back about 3.5 to find Adamar Callargo, and the field spreads down to almost 2 seconds back to John Senescu and Ryan Sanchez in 18th and 19th. No sign of Luis Quinones here this weekend, so 19 putting laps so far here in KA100 Master morning warm-up. So that'll conclude that one as we move now into the final couple classes on the lineup for practice. X30 Jr, Pro and Master Shifter, and of course as well the Pro X30s will be rounding off the rotation throughout the day. We'll go straight from the warm-up sessions through to qualifying, of course. If you'd like to watch the main events and the pre-finals as well as that KA100Jr LCQ, make sure that you're a KC Premium member. That's hitting that join button here on YouTube for $9.99 a month, and that'll cover all of our racing action this year here. Of course, later this month we have the RMC Winter Trophy in Orlando. That's in 2 weeks' time. It'll be 2 back-to-back weekends. In fact, 3 weeks in a row of fantastic racing here, all live on Kart Chaser, powered by Acceleration Kart Racing. Both weekends of the RMC Winter Trophy in Orlando, then back down here to Homestead-Miami Motorplex, presented by MG Tires here for the SKUSA Winter Series finale. And then the KC Grassroots campaign kicks off at the end of February with a number of regional championships before the regular national season gets underway. For RPG X30 Jr, a big turnout for this one to start the year at 31 drivers in total. And Ardila is not only quickest in KA Jr, he was quickest in X30 Jr as well. So very fast at the end of Friday for the Cosmic driver. In fact, I think he had about 2.5 tenths off in the final session. So Diego Ardila is in the 793, entering here into warm-up with, I would say, a lot of confidence and probably a good bit of swagger as well when you put that kind of whooping on such a stacked field that is X30 Jr.
Correct. You can't forget about the guys like Enzo Montiel, who was super quick at the Super Nationals 26. Turner Brown as well in this field as well. We talked about him in the KA100 class, KA100 Jr class, and now we're seeing him again here in the X30 Jr class. So definitely a very, very stacked class with the likes of Nathan Dupuis and many more, Xander.
will come by the stripe this time. Here's the look at the Motez Sport Kart Republic of Enzo Vidmontien coming across the line with a few drivers right behind him. And so the Trinity Karting Group Motez Sport machine headed down to turns 1 and 2. His first lap just cycling by, or just getting ready to start, I should say. There's one of the Zanella Racing Tony karts lined up behind him as they come out of turn number 4.
Out of turn number 4 now for Enzo Vidmontien. Leads the pack here still. Diego Ardiles up there as well. Definitely when it comes to the X30 class, this is one of the classes that's going to lay down the most rubber as we get closer to the pro classes later on in the day. Coming up shortly, actually. So not too far off of the pro categories. And this is going to be one of the big reference points, I guess, for the X30 Sr guys here, Xander.
Yeah, as they go down into turn number 5 here, Vidmontien will set the pace, I believe. Alexander Vanchev, 50.123. Vidmontien actually a little bit slower, 50.34 that time by. So not going any bit quicker. In fact, Vanchev on the Zanella Tony kart, talk about a turnaround. That kid couldn't get off the grid. Motor would not fire for KA100Jr. Does fire and gets off the grid here for X30Jr.
Down. It seems like Alexander Searle's got some intel down in the pits with Dalton Haynes, I believe. Down to you, Alex. What do you got?
In the pits of Kart USA.
As the checkered flag comes out this time by for the X30 Jr class presented by Rawlson Performance Group. Turner Brown still at the top of the timing sheets. Alexander Vanchev currently in second. Enzo Vidmontien in third. Diego Ardiles currently sits in fourth as he gets the checkered flag that time by. Sarah Bradley as well in fifth. Aiden Agustin in sixth. Bernardo Bernoldi in seventh. Jackson Woney down in seventh. Fernando Arnaudo in ninth. Michael McGoy.
Attention in the paddock area. Attention in the pit area. Attention in the pit area. The toilet service truck is on site right now. If any RVs need service, just you need to go speak with the driver while he's servicing the restroom trailer at the end of the grid down here. Again, if you have an RV that needs toilet service, please meet the driver by the restroom trailer here in a few minutes. Also, we want to remind everyone about the dining options we have on site. On the main midway, we have the Latin food truck. We also have the Kart Cafe. At the rear of the grid, the rear of the midway, we have Vera's food truck. And over by the yellow registration building, we have our gourmet pizza truck and also the waffle sandwich truck. So it's waffles and assorted other sandwiches. Again, if you have an RV and you need toilet service, please meet the toilet driver by the restroom trailer. And we do ask, if you can, please frequent our food vendors, as we want to ensure they keep attending the events and offering us on-site food options.
Our class has done the hard work for you. We've traveled to your racetracks to give you the inside knowledge. So what does Car Class offer? We've got drone footage that captures the racing lines, visual markers for your braking points, acceleration zones, and the best overtake opportunities on your racetrack. Pedal cam to show you where to brake and when to accelerate, and 360-degree footage to make sure you don't miss any parts on the racetrack. We've covered 13 racetracks in the United States, and Australia, you're up next. So visit carclass.com to get your track information.
So you will finally want to get behind the wheel, huh?
So on the circuit now here is PSL Karting, Pro Shifter Inter MS Kart and Master Shifter. Danny Formal on your screen in the Rollison Performance Group Cosmic, making his way out of the infield section. Second quickest yesterday in final practice, about a 1/10 of a second off the pace of where he needed to be from Alan Isambard, who was quickest by a good bit in practice 4, but had new rubber on the Sodi USA PK Sports machine. Isambard is quickest again here to start things off here this morning on lap number 2, though. 47.002 for the driver from West Palm Beach, Florida. And Formal now going to go a little bit better than him. Gavin Bailiff, 3rd at the moment. Anthony Martella, 4th. Vincenzo Saracino, 5th. Here as Isambard makes his way around there in the number 53 black and orange colors. He's got a lot to find on lap 3, though. The big guy, half a second clear on his second lap. Let's see what Isambard does across the line. It'll be a 46.5, gets him closer, still a 10th off Danny Formal, who's coming around on his 3rd lap here, Caleb.
Yeah, correct. Danny Formal seemed like he struggled a little bit yesterday in the happy hour, wasn't too happy with the cart, but it seems like they've got it figured out here this morning as he's currently purple, and now Alan Isambard is the one who's chasing Danny Formal here early on in the warm-up. Obviously, it's just warm-up. All to play for in qualifying and in the heat races. But it seems like for now, Danny Formal is going to be happy with the performance of his kart. Gavin Bailiff as well up in P4. Vincenzo Saracino for the first time in a couple of years for him. He's back for a full campaign this year, Xander. Talking to him a little bit yesterday, he was saying that he's going to be back with the Maranello boys, the Carbos Racing Engines team. And he's going to be back for a full campaign, expected to do almost all of the major national series this year. So for Vincenzo Saracino, he was telling me a little bit yesterday that the thing that he felt that he lacked the most last year was the seat time. So good for him to see that he's up there now fighting in the top 4 here this weekend.
Yeah, it's very cool for Vincenzo. Again, he has been a privateer for most of his life, especially the last few years. We've seen him on the KC broadcast, but to be linked up here with the importer team for the Maranello chassis, the Maranello USA, Vermont Kart Company, Carbolos Racing Engines, kind of multifaceted program, has everything in-house. Again, engine development and building in-house. Of course, the chassis straight over from Italy. And so for Vincenzo to be their lead shifter guy this year is a great opportunity to be able to go and run the full season. He's 3rd, as you mentioned right now, just ahead of the TKG Kart Republic of Gavin Bailiff. He's trailing up on one of the Sodi Racing USA by PK Sport machines. But everyone is still off from the top 2. Danny Formal, 46.19, to Alan Isambard in the 53 of 46.24 as we are coming to the checkered flag later here this lap.
Correct, and as it stands now, Michael Riccio in 7th here. Standout year for him last year as well. Martella, his rookie season last year in the shifter class. Now going for a 2nd year. Learned a whole lot last year from a guy like Marian Kremers, and now this year having another world champion under his wing. Over his wing, I should say, in Mateus Morgado, who currently doesn't find him. He finds himself outside of the top 10. Seems like he struggled a little bit here this morning in warm-up for pace.
So as the field heads around the final couple turns, I believe Saraceno's already starting to cool back off. He did not take the checkered, could have gone one more lap. He will not. In fact, he's going to pull off to the side there, probably do a mock start on the inside of the racetrack to try and warm up for the pre-final later on today. Formal's best lap at lap 4. Perfect timing there for qualifying. There's a look at the big guy there in the number 37. He's going to get himself a little mock start run into the carousel. And the Rollison Performance Group team right off of the SKUSA Super Nationals in the first official session of Saturday here for the SKUSA Winter Series. They remain on top. Here's a look down at Pro X30. Getting set to go racing, presented by Speed Lab Racing Engines. They will be the final class of the day at around 5:20 p.m. Eastern Time, 2:20 Pacific. But first up, we get them out for morning warm-up. You heard from ADT, 9th in final practice, said we've got to try something here in warm-up to get closer to where we need to be. But Alexander Searle and David Land both talked about the Sodi Racing USA boys. Harley Keeble, Dalton Haynes, they're going to lead the field on the green as they've lined up at the head of the grid here for practice. Keeble, quickest in practice number 3, and was quickest when not all the transponders were on in practice 2 as well. But when we got into the afternoon, that's where they struggled. Practice 3 will be right around when they qualify today, so hopefully that's a good sign that on a somewhat green racetrack and in the morning part of the day, the black and orange boys will be quick as they lead our field onto the circuit.
Correct, and before Harley and Dalton went out, they threw a little heart up at each other, a little bit of a bromance there, spawning at the Sodi at the Sodi USA team for these 2 boys. One of the youngest teams on the paddock this year.
So as they head into turn number 5 for the first lap, good chunk of the field moving out as well. We'll continue to follow these two for a moment and then switch around and see what some of the new teams, new faces, and of course old faces in new places have found themselves and what their rides will look like for the 2024 Pro National calendar in one of our two headline divisions. So across the line we go to start lap 1. Haynes has a problem. Bad news for Dalton Haynes. He's going to pull straight into the pit lane here as he takes a look back over the rear bumper. Something amiss for Dalton Haynes there. And so one of the two leading boys for Sodi off the circuit, as here's a big move down the inside by Gianluca Savalio on the HM Propella Kart Republic on Dustin Salavaria's Sodi. They're going back and forth. In the mix of that, I believe, is Jacob Kolar. The kid from Key West was so fast yesterday, he went quickest in practice 4, second in happy hours. He heads to turn number 5, and look at this gaggle. This is honestly anxiety-inducing for a lot of the team owners and mechanics, knowing that they've got to go to qualifying in about an hour, and that their drivers are in the midst of a 2 and 3 wide pack right now here, starting off warm-up.
Correct. Paulie Massimino, Brandon Carr, and Finnegan Bailiff all in there as well. Henry Wheeler further back in that field, in that train, I should say. Henry Wheeler, another move in silly season. He currently finds himself with the PSL karting group for the first time, as he had a breakout year last year as well, and now trying to improve on that this year with a teammate like Diego Ramos this weekend and for the rest of 2024.
So Jacob Kolar and Thomas Nevu, two Kart Republics that were very, very fast yesterday. Both of them hovering the top 5. Nevo was the NASCAR Pinty Series Rookie of the Year in 2023, but still made time to get over to the SKUSA Super Nationals, qualified solidly, started the main event in 4th, and then ran inside the top 10 for most of the final. He'd love to get back on the top step of the podium in a pro karting event that keeps him fresh as he continues to push through up in Canada. Down the back straightaway they go, right behind Kolar. They both were pretty quick on the opening lap. Now the first lap at full speed really comes on by. Where do they go in? Kolar, 48.38. Nevo, 48.51. Massimino now leading the next group there. That is going to have, I believe, Brandon Carr right behind him on the TKG Kart Republic, and Alessandro DiTullio. So Massimino, same colors as where he ended last year with the blue, white, and yellow BJR MDR LN kart machine. Of course, Brandon Carr, new for him, new helmet, new suit, completely new look for the Brit. And then Alessandro DiTullio lined up for a full season in the pink and chrome Inter MS Kart Republic boys, exactly how he ended last year, starting on the front row of the Super Nationals and, of course, running throughout the top 10 for most of that main event. They're all a little further back, though, in that 3-kart pack. Massimino right now way down, actually, in 19th. Carr down there with him in 24th. We'll see if any of those times cycle up as Nevo will now go quickest. Here's a look further back. Let's check the next pack. How about a senior sophomore? Jorge Ortiz is back. He's with the Chad Dawkin Racing Kart Republic satellite team, and the number 31 was impressive at the Super Nationals. Ran inside the top 10 in a lot of his heat races. Just was knocking on the door of a top 10 finish in the final. And for the young gun who did not get a full season together last year and hopped around on 3 different manufacturers, from the Speed Concepts Racing Red Speed to start the year, then with the SLA Kart Racing boys on a Sodi in the summer, and then only really got on the Kart Republic at the end of the year for the Super Nats. He comes to familiar territory here at Homestead, raced at the regional event a month ago, and was pretty fast there as well. So good stuff for Jorge Ortiz. At the moment right now, 17th here for Jorge.
Correct, 17 down there for Jorge Ortiz. Danilo Albanese, the first time we see him in the top 2, as he currently goes up to P2, and that's right before flying Ryan Norberg takes that time away with a 48.089 for Ryan Norberg. DiTullio there making a move on,
that's Albanese. Danilo Albanese, our new hotshot there on the number 39, going on by on one of the Kart Republics. That was, I believe, on maybe Noah Jackson or Kolar. Albanese right now a little further back. The issue with Dalton Haynes was no number panel on the left-hand side, so they meatballed him right off the bat. The stickers came off, and that's a standard SuperKarts USA rule to be able to ID drivers that the numbers got to be visible on all 4 sides. So no warm-up for Dalton Haynes. His teammate Harley Keeble sits 6. Nevo was on top. Hello, Checo. Ernesto Rivera goes quicker. DiTullio goes quicker. Final time through the loop here. Anyone else going to jump up? ADT a 47.9. Few more drivers bailing out at the last second. Blake Nash was quick early in the session. He will not end quickest there. He's 13th across the loop. Here comes an RPG contingent. Bonilla, Rivera, No improvement there for any of them. And that will do it. Alessandro Di Tullio, fastest in both of his classes here in morning warm-ups. Out of 47.9 in Pro X30 over Thomas Neveau, Ernesto Rivera, Ryan Norberg 4th, Albanese 5th. So he moves up the leaderboard a little bit from where he ended yesterday. Kolar 6th, Keeble, Austin Garrison, a silent and consistent run through practice. 8th here in warm-up. Donovan Bonilla, same boat, just kind of lurking in 9th. Massimino does rip off a good lap once the session gets going. He ends up 10th. Savalio 11th. Brandon Carr, Blake Nash, Brian Garcia, one of the many Homestead-Miami locals, 14th in morning warm-up for Brian. Laurent Legault, Nicholas Terlecki, Ortiz, Southwick Sarathi, Noah Jackson, and Francesco Merengue down your top 20. Diego Ramos, I don't know if he made it out there for the session. We were searching around for many drivers. Did not see Diego during that warm-up session. So Diego Ramos, no time shown. But ADT, quickest in KA Senior, quickest in Pro X30. Thomas Neveau puts it 2. Kart Republics 1-2 with the TKG boys. Ernesto Rivera and Ryan Norberg have their RPG Cosmics 3rd and 4th. And again, Danilo Albanese puts 3 Kart Republics inside the top 5. Let's go down here to pit lane, though. You talked about Vincenzo again. Excited to get to run a full season as the Maranello USA late shifter driver. He's standing by here with David Land on pit lane.
Yeah, Vincenzo, you're up there, up near the front. We haven't called your name at all this weekend. You haven't been here in a while, so just learning the track and getting used to it?
No, I wouldn't say learning or getting used to it, just slowly piecing it together myself. It's a very physical track, so they've added a few things that have been to last, a lot of exit curbings, so that was a little get used to because the lines used to be a little different back in the day, but I'm up at the front now, thankfully, so just a little more tense to get up to Danny and second place, but we'll get there.
Yeah, and once you get there, I mean, what's the key to victory around this racetrack, do you think?
Stamina and curbs.
Curbs, always the talking point here at Homestead. Back to you guys in the booth.
Thank you, David. So again, that was Vincenzo Saraceno, who is another one of our many Florida-based national-level drivers. Like he said, he's been here before, but things have changed quite a bit. The big improvement was back at the beginning of the 2022 season, restructuring all of the inside and outside curbs. They used to have pretty harsh exit curbing that was really more of a curb than any runoff room, and so you're having to jump over those. Now they flattened those out. They raised the inside curbs. It changed the line quite a bit, but one guy who was really fast here last year in single speed is standing by with Dave here in the scale line in gearbox competition. David?
Yeah, Mateus, we talked yesterday and you predicted you were going to win both races. We didn't see your lap times. You didn't have a transponder on, so how did it feel out there?
No, I felt good. We tried to test something new. I did not really like it, but I'm confident. The race is long, the final is long, so it's what it matters. So we keep pushing and we see.
So obviously the big talking point has been the curbs this weekend. How are you kind of feeling those curbs here in the shifter cart?
Well, I don't touch any curbs. They are too high for me. So I mean, I don't know. Normal.
So that's an interesting contrast because we know Danny really likes the curbs. I mean, what's kind of the preference as a driver? When do you choose not to run those curbs? I mean, what's the thought process there?
I think it's more of your driving style. So Danny is a driver that always uses curbs in every track. So I guess he's using here as well, but I'm not that type. So yeah.
Mateus Morgado, not the type to use the curbs, but he's still pretty fast around here.
So again here, let's take a look back at some of the final bits from that Pro X30 warm-up. We mentioned Dalton Haynes there, rolled off on the pit lane without numbers on the car. And again, that's a standard rule here at the Pro National Circuit. You got to have numbers on all 4 sides. And so again, you can see there right off the grid, no numbers on the left side panel for the number 15 of Dalton Haynes, and that was why he was instantly flagged off the circuit, not able to complete the session. You have to be fully kitted and ready to go when we go official session times. And now, speaking of official sessions, it's time for qualifying. Trinity Karting Group, Kart Republic, Mini Swift is on the circuit for the first of 2 groups, and they've spaced them out since leaving the grid. They were lined up based on final practice. This will be the bottom half from Friday happy hour. First driver out, the number 42 of Pasha Ali on the Sodi Racing USA by PK Sports machine. He'll take us around the circuit and down to the start-finish line to begin lap number 1. Short sessions in quali. You got to get out, find clear track, and try to get after it pretty quickly. Caleb, we were talking right before the broadcast got underway that so often we see drivers trying to pack up and not be the leader, but be second or third or further back in a tow line. And again, with the format that is here, that's at the U.S. Pro Kart Series, it's at most of the series that we run on the national calendar. It's a small window to get that lap right. You've only got maybe the last lap or the second to last lap, and there's only maybe 3 or 4 you're going to get in a session. So if you're going to take that gamble to get a big tow, you've got to hope that you line yourself perfectly on the first try and that the pack does spread out on the opening warm-up lap. Otherwise, you're going to burn the entire session playing in traffic.
Correct. With qualifying being so short, it's really important for these guys to really get it right off the bat. And like you said, you don't want to be that first guy out there. That's why we see a lot of gamesmanship in the pro classes. Nobody wants to be the first guy. We saw last year at the SKUSA Pro Tour in Utah, a lot of gamesmanship. Some of the guys not even in the fastest group in the X30 Pro class, not even able to get a lap in because of all the games that were being played. Nobody wanted to go first. Nobody wanted to be the first one out there. They wanted to line themselves up in the perfect spot. So that's gonna be something to play here this weekend.
So first lap's coming in here. Benja Fernandez will go top of the boards. And again, you talk about lining up right behind someone. He's second off the grid. So Fernandez in the 106 goes to the top initially here from the first group in the TKG Mini Swift division. Benja didn't run all the national events last year, but grew up here in Homestead, started in Kid Kart, moved through Micro and was a contender there. Now he's up in Mini, and he's going to go by Pasha Ali as he already feels a whole lot faster than him on the Team Tarp Alonso kart. So as Benja heads down the back straightaway, probably won't be a good second lap. Hopefully he can get a good third lap in as the timer continues to tick on here in qualifying. Again, they've got a big enough gap to run a good amount of time and get maybe 4 laps at full speed, pushing 5 depending on the classes, but it's going to be pretty similar to what they hit in warm-up. Second lap in, Fernandez still with the pass. Quickest, 2.5 tenths over fellow South Florida native Maxwell Macha. Jensen Michelke third. Drew Jensen and Brandon Shore, your top 5 here, and he's already pulled quite a ways away from Pasha Ali, so our camera will stick on the 106 blue and yellow car of Benja Fernandez. A 52.811 current time to beat as he heads to the carousel.
A good lap so far by Benja Fernandez, like you said. Maxwell Macha in second. A good year for him last year. I think he was able to take the win at Supernats 26. He was, and a really big year for Maxwell Macha last year, and he looks to continue that here this year in the Mini Swift class.
Yeah, Maxwell Macha, Benja Fernandez, and Alessandro Truccio all started right here in the Kid Kart division and really restarted that class as the club was beginning to grow a few years ago. Truccio moved up a little bit earlier as we got problems a little further back, or maybe not a problem, but just backing off for one of the pole position motorsports Paralyn drivers. And there's Macha on the SLA Car Racing Sodi. Like you said, hot off that Supernats win in Micro Swift. Moves into Mini. Didn't make the fast group cut, but it's a lot smaller of a class than KA100Jr, so that could only mean just a upper teens or low 20s lap time. It's not necessarily a death sentence here as well, with not as big of a grid and everyone transferring into the final. So Fernandez, 52.55 that time, still a whole lot quicker. Macha was mired in traffic last lap, got by everyone this lap. He'll be gearing up for maybe a good lap number 4. And we'll get a good idea of how many laps the micros will get on the time charts when they cross the line this lap or next. There goes Fernandez. There goes the 155 super tuned Paralyn of Jensen Michelke. He'll jump up the boards to third as Fernandez continues to improve, and it will be just 4. So nothing better on the final lap for Maxwell Macha. Got trapped in a bit of traffic, and he ends up still second in the group. But when you're half a second off the fastest guy in the group and you're hoping that you'll kind of blend in ahead of some of the slower guys in the second group to come, it's not a good sign. You need to be really quick above the rest of everyone around you. That's what Benja Fernandez was right there in qualifying, and he might just be able to go into the top 10 when all things get settled and sorted from the fast group. So that's only down 16 drivers out of the 32 in the TKG Mini Swift division. And Fernandez at least no worse than 17th. I think he's probably going to end up a little bit higher at a 52.491. That's a good lap time and a good delta back to the rest of the pack. Michelke ending up third. Brandon Shore fourth. Drew Jensen fifth. Isaac Payne in sixth. Geronimo Zulaga in seventh. Brandon Eng in eighth. Simon Klein, Vian Bindi down in 10th, but you can see the delta there on your screen from our pole man here in Q1 compared to what we saw to the rest of the group. So for Fernandez to hit that kind of lap, that's a good sign nonetheless to go into qualifying. Not the best for Pasha Ali, who was released first. Here's a look at Alessandro Truccio, fastest in final practice, reigning series champion in his final American race, his only American race, at least as of right now on the plans. We got other problems. Micro Swift standout, multi-time champion last year, Parker Ives, the U.S. Pro Kart Series Micro champ, has not made it off the grid. The Ives Racing Ryan Perry Motorsport Nitro Kart having a problem on the access road. If he pushes the cart back into the grid, they might still be able to let him out, but it depends what broke on it for the 148. Parker Ives trying to motion to the marshal, saying, hey, I think I can get it fixed if I can just get back to my guys on the grid. I don't know if he'll make it there, though. It's only a 5-minute session here for Parker, so bummer to start his Mini Swift campaign, as Parker Ives will not get a single lap turned here as it looks right now in Saturday qualifying.
Yeah, desperation hour for the Ryan Perry Motorsports team as it continues here for Brandon Truccio and the rest of the field.
Alessandro Truccio continues at the moment here. First lap in, just getting going. There's the 133 of Royce Vega, who returns this year. Should be another odds-on favorite. What a Supernats win it was for Royce. You could see all the emotions as it hit him once he got through to turn number 1, and the race was done and dusted. What a great race that was. All the divisions really put on good racing in the support classes from micro to master at the Supernats, and it was really only the headline divisions that kind of got spread apart. Vega had to fight for it, got a big win on the biggest stage in the world, really, and for sure the biggest in North America. As he crosses the line for his second lap, we'll take a look at it. Truccio, first lap at full speed, I should say. Truccio third. Vega not too high up on the opening lap. Troy Ferguson, decent. His Bennett teammate Marco Samet goes fourth. Let's go down to pit lane here. Former Ryan Perry Motorsport driver, now with Trinity Karting Group, Kart Republic. Brandon Carr is standing by in pit lane.
Thank you, Xander. Brandon, yesterday, despite doing almost all the sessions, despite not doing the first one, you were feeling a little bit under the weather. Correct me if I'm wrong. How are you feeling this morning?
Yeah, I feel a lot better today. Struggled the last 2 days with just being ill. Not sure what it was, but we're feeling good today. And yeah, we seemed pretty good this morning compared to yesterday. We struggled a bit yesterday just with a little bit of kart setup, my feedback. So we spoke about it last night, and yeah, it seems to be all sorted for today, and we're going to see what we can do in Qualy.
Yeah, qualifying's a bit of a shorter session than what we saw yesterday in practice. I mean, do you think your pace in Qualy is going to be good? I mean, you're about a 4/10 off this morning.
Yeah, we've gone from being like 6-7 tenths off the 4/10, so just one more little improvement with the kart, I think, and I think we'll be good for Qualy. Yeah, it takes a little bit to get going on the first couple of laps, but it's just going to be on them last 2 laps what we can do.
Yeah, we've seen differing strategies in the practice sessions. I mean, do you think a tow is going to be important for X30?
I don't think it's going to be as important as people think it will be, because for some reason you don't really suck up to people that well down the straights, but the chase will help a lot. So you just got to try and get that perfect gap on the last lap and not make any mistakes, and just try and make it all perfect, and it should be all good.
Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you.
Back to the circuit now here. Alessandro Truccio has nipped Benja Fernandez, but the time from Q1 has still remained pretty solid. 52.49 for Fernandez is second right now, and I believe if it's on the same track as what we just saw with the first group, he's just got to hold on for one more lap around, and he might be well inside the top 10. At the moment, he's on the front row. Last year's champ again, Truccio, 3 tenths over Fernandez, nearly 4 tenths over Marco Samet's BJR MDR machine in third, Rocco Simone fourth, Troy Ferguson fifth, Colton Schneegenberg, Royce Vega did get going there earlier and dropped into seventh. Valentino Santillan, Mika Barrow, and Josh Bergman, the top 10. Here comes your quickest driver. What will be the final time? Lap 4, cross the line for Truccio. Checkers in the air, no improvement. The rest of the pack coming on by. Here comes the Bennett machines. Ferguson to second. Vega improves, but not enough. He's going to fall down. Emil Hernandez Moran to third. Santillan goes to fourth. Fernandez at the moment holding in sixth. What a great run for Benja out of the slow group to crack the top 10. But Truccio picks up where he left off. Dominant for the pole position Motorsports Parolin driver. quickest in all sessions so far, and he ends up on top in qualifying by a 10th.5 over Team Panic's Troy Ferguson, Emil Hernandez-Marun, Valentino Santillan, and then Rocco Simone there in the 5th spot on the Trinity Karting Group Kart Republic. Lots of different brands represented there inside the top 5. Parolin 1st and 3rd, a Sodi in 4th, a Benek in 2nd, and a Kart Republic in 5th, and really another Kart Republic in 6th there with Fernandez. Marco Samet on the OTK LN Kart in 7th, Mika Barrow, Colton Schneegenberg, Josh Bergman. And going to round out the top 10, Bergman and Schneegenberg, couple of rookies moving up from the micro division. They crack the top 10 here in Mini. But of course, the big story we saw at the beginning of this session, the heartbreak for Parker Ives. And again, we'll take a look at it. He was doing everything he could, trying to not give up there on the Ryan Perry Motorsport Nitro kart and push back into pit lane. But as you can tell there, I believe looks like maybe the chain might just be off on the 148 or something amiss on it. No, chain's on the car.
Maybe something with the pipe, if I'm not mistaken here, Xander. That's what it looked like there on Parker Ives' kart. Not sure what the issue was, but a big story for him in his rookie campaign in the May Swift class, and an unfortunate start here so far this weekend for him.
Yeah, nothing really looking too wrong there with Parker Ives' machine from what we could tell. So bummer for him. He'll have to start from the tail end of the field, but at least it's not 65 plus karts and 20 standing in the way of you in a main event like what we're about to witness here in Nash Motorsports KA100 Jr. 4 total run groups getting set to go for qualifying in this one as we continue to roll through the day. Mini Swift presented by Trinity Karting Group Kart Republic. Again, they're all wrapped up based on everything. The KA Juniors divided now into 4 qualifying groups. Out of the 65, you'll see about 15 to 18 on the racetrack in total for each of the groups. This is the overall bottom quarter that will be the first ones out, working our way all the way up to the fastest group from final happy hour yesterday. So KA100 Jr. Group 1 of 4 on deck, ready to go. And going back, at least the good news for these guys, even though they're the first of 4 groups at the track and we expect it to only get better and better as more and more new rubber gets laid down, seeing Benja Fernandez in the first group of the day go 6th overall out of the slow group, end up beating about 10 drivers in total from the fast group, that's got to give at least kind of some kind of hope for these drivers in the first section onto the racetrack. Anyone that might have had a similar story to Dalton Haynes or Alessandro DeTullio where they get DQ'd for being underweight could be still, hey, I can still fight from here. I can get up quite a few spots, and then in the pre-finals, picking up a handful of positions is equal to twice as much since the field's going to be split in half.
Correct. If Alessandro DeTullio and Dalton Haynes are able to get it done in their qualifying sessions in that slow group, it's really gonna lessen the workload for them in the pre-final and in the final races for them. That's going to be less carts to pass. So hopefully for the 2 of them, they can get it done in their qualifying session coming up next. But like you said, Benja Fernandez, an outstanding qualifying for him, landing himself in the top 10 like you predicted, Xander, with a great lap time for him in his qualifying session from the slower group.
Yeah, of the drivers that will be going in this first group here from well, we can tell Luke Tall is the only driver that did get DQ'd from the upper half of the grid. So Luke Tall will be having to roll out of this very first group. The number 835, Sodi Racing USA by PK Sports Machine, will be one driver to watch. We'll keep our eyes on him. The rest of the group will include the likes of Remy Andretos, Arthur Barbe, Shane Smith, Jackson Deal on your screen there just a bit to the right. In the MPG Motorsports Kart Republic, you have the 826, Ryan Perry Motorsport, Tony Carter, Lucas Brancati in view. And then up at the front is the 874 of Roman Felber. The Felber brothers, Roman and Cash, were the first 2 drivers that just missed out on group number 2 of 4. They'll be the first onto the racetrack at least, so they get clear track in front of them. No traffic for the Felber brothers to lead the field out on the RPG Cosmics. But the engines have fired, so it looks like we're getting set to go. And here we go on to the racetrack for the first of 4 groups at Nash Motorsports KA100 Jr. The next group getting set to roll, and we've got problems. That's the 835 of Luke Tall that has not rolled off the grid. The Sodi USA machine is still trying to get fired up. So the 835 of Luke Tall was the driver we just talked about that had an issue at the end of happy hour. He does get the engine fired, a little bit behind, but he should get all 4 laps at least, if not 5 in this session. So that's a quick panic attack and kind of knocks you out of the zone when you can't fire off on the grid, Caleb.
Correct. That was my next point for Luke Tall. It's going to be really important for him to get back in the zone and get back into that qualifying mindset. When you're on the grid, a lot of drivers say that they lock in. They pretty much get into the zone and get ready to go out for the qualifying session. So for Luke Tall, a moment like that, that's going to knock him out of the zone, and that's really going to mess up with his concentration. But a driver like Luke Tall, he's definitely going to be able to get it back done here in this qualifying session.
Saving grace for Luke is at least he's still got plenty of clear racetrack all around him, as across the line to lead it will be one of the MPG Kart Republics of that group. There is the 875, and that is Carlo Rocchetti. So Carlo Rocchetti there in the black and orange Tony Kart. There's a look at Luke Tall there going to turn number 11, but out of turn number 4, this will be the first driver on the first lap at full speed to give us an idea of where the lap times will fall for Q2 Group 1 in Nash Motorsports KA100Jr as they head to the carousel. 4 laps was all that the minis were able to put in. KA Juniors are a tick quicker, but not by much. So I don't think any of them are going to get 5 laps in on the timer for 5 minutes. We'll see when we come by the line how quick it takes the out lap and then the first lap for Carlo Ricchetti. That might be enough to get a 5th lap if they want it. Across the line, first lap, 52.3 for Ricchetti, 52.03 for Jackson Deal. And he'll go quickest by about a 10.5 over Aiden Augustine. Alexander Young will go 3rd. Carter Barkis in 5th. Levi Sangera, 6th. Reme Andretos, Lucas Brancati, Ethan Dyer, Roman Felber, and there is Luke Tall. He'll quickly slot up to the top of the leaderboard at a 51.78, so able to put at least a good opening lap together, and with plenty of space, we'll see if that Sodi USA machine can continue to roll. Here's a look at Jackson Deal through there, and then you got to go way back to find Luke Tall. The question will just be if he gets all 4 laps, being that far behind the track, or behind the pack though, Caleb. The timer might kind of burn him from that final lap with that little hiccup getting off the grid.
Correct, and like you said, for Luke Tall, it's going to be imperative for him to really set himself apart from the rest of the group. Like we saw earlier today, the last session in the mini Swift class, we saw Benja Fernandez almost half a second than the rest of the qualifiers in his group. So it's going to be important here for Luke Tall. If he wants to be in a good starting spot for the pre-final, it's going to be important for him to be almost half a second faster than this group, but not good enough as Remy Andretos goes fastest. And there he goes, Luke Tall once again, faster than the rest of the group, a 50.902 for the Sodi Kart Racing USA entry of Luke Tall.
So Luke Tall picked up nearly 0.8 of a second last time by, from a 51.7 to a 50.902. We heard from Brandon Carr. He said as much as you would think a toe would help, especially in the high horsepower stuff, maybe more so in KA100Jr, you have to run a pretty tall gear ratio here to get out of those tight hairpins. So specifically turn number 5 on this racetrack, as much as he's got those long straights, it's not like you can really get to the edge of the power band because you're already there pretty quickly on your own just to get into that high rev range coming out of the slower corners. So as Luke comes around the final turn and across the line, he actually won't go quickest on the 3rd lap. That'll go to Aiden Augustine, the 870. So Aiden Augustine, 50.730 in the Next Tech Racing Cosmic. He was one of the first drivers to come out onto the racetrack. He's quicker than Tall. Andretos on the fellow Sodi is 3rd. Carter Barkis is 4th. And Jackson Deal, who momentarily topped the charts, has been pushed down to the 5th position. So there's a look at the 870 Cosmic of Aiden Augustine. He is quickest at the moment. This should be the checkers, I believe, as they come out of the final turn. Cross the line, is it? It is. Checkered flag. No one going quicker, though. Carlo Ricchetti improves down in 8th. It'll be up to Luke Tall when he gets back around if he can put one more lap in. No one else in the top 10 improves on lap number 4. Here comes Tall. He caught traffic. Had to get around one driver. Will not improve either. So Aiden Augustine in our first of 4 groups for KA100Jr, 50.730, enough to go to the top.
Yeah, Luke Tall not good enough. 500ths of a second slower than Aiden Augustine and not able to go fastest of that 4th group. So Luke Tall going to be in 2nd, Remy Andretos in 3rd, Carter Marcus in 5th, Jackson Deal in 5th, Lucas Brancati in 6th, Alexander Young in 7th, Carlo Ricchetti in 8th, Arthur Barb in 9th, and Levi Sanguera rounding up your top 10 in this 4th group, Xander.
The Felber brothers, who were one of the first few below the cut line and led out onto the racetrack, end up down in 11th and 13th. Ethan Dyer, Tiziano Rosso Orcel, Shane Smith, the top 15. And again, comparing to where we were yesterday at the mid-afternoon session when the KA Juniors were on the racetrack, was a 49.9. So that was 0.8 off the pace of final practice. We don't know exactly how much different the track conditions are. They looked very slippery this morning, but we would imagine they'll be probably pretty good at the moment right now with the sun baking into it for the last 3 hours, and already 3 full groups of new MG red tires laying down some rubber. So I think that we're going to see probably at least a 49.9 will need to be hit to take pole, if not probably a mid-49 second lap. So here is the second of 4 groups. This is the top half from Q2's group. This was right around here, probably 40 to 50, maybe 35th to 50th on the time charts from final practice yesterday on the circuit right now. First one out is one of the blue and white Tony Kart machines. That is going to be the 822 of Sebastian Rice on the Kartworks USA Tony Kart. Then back from him, you have the 841 of Nathan Dupuis, who was quickest in warm-up on that black and white Speed Concepts Racing red speed. Then it's Yao Paulo Bonataman, Ruben Gutierrez, Tristan Murphy, Quentin McPherson, and Braden Zerves that are all kind of in the order on the circuit. But Dupuis quickest in morning warm-up. Let's see what he does as he's second out on the circuit, chasing down Sebastian Rice. Across the line will be this time the first lap, and the first look we get at pace. Out of 11, Rice across the line in the blue and white Kartworks colors. 12th, Dupuis goes to 7th, 51.34. That's promising to start, already jumping up half the group from the drivers beforehand.
Yeah, a very good start here for Nathan Dupuis, working his way up half, like you said, already chopping off half of those guys in that first group. So a 51.347 for Dupuis, but it seems like he's catching the cart of Sebastian Rist, who is ahead. So going to be imperative for Dupuis to get around Sebastian Rist as quickly as possible here, Sander.
Yeah, Sebastian Rist, you're actually correct on that pronunciation. My mistake. Kid actually corrected me back in the Star Championship Series in Cincinnati. Came over to introduce himself. He said, "My name is Rist, just like your body part." So Sebastian Rist, at the time, again, when we were just talking about him, he was first on the circuit, was 13th. He's now bumped back to 16th. Here with the first lap complete, and it doesn't look like this one is a ton better. It's good for Dupuis, though, good enough to go to the top. He'll make the pass down in turn number 1, and Nathan Dupuis goes through. Sebastian Rist, his lap puts him 13th, but we're still waiting on the rest of the pack to cycle through, and that's going to bump him down. Ty Fisher still yet to cross the line. The same with a few more further back on the board. So at least, though, for Nathan Dupuis, he's jumped up everyone in the group so far. If he can continue to roll some more pace out of it, he might be able to crack the top 20 overall. That's a 50.5. Again, we were told it was a 49.9 from final practice for Diego Ardiles. That was the quick time. So he's still got about 0.6 off of that kind of gauge of where he needs to be. Let's see it down the backstretch. This will be the third lap of 4 for the Speed Concepts Racing red speed of Nathan Dupuis. Out of the last turn, had to make a pass, so he didn't go quicker. Ty Fisher did, though. He's way back on the circuit in the Race Lab Karting TV. He was quickest. Yao Paulo Bonataman going third. There is a look at Ty. He backed way off the pack, similar to Luke Tall, but this was probably more self-inflicted for Ty Fisher.
Yeah, going to be, I mean, it ended up playing into his hands as now currently sits fastest with a 50.526. Let's see if he can improve this time by across the line for Ty Fisher, and he is a 50.383 for Ty Fisher. And it seems like the open space on track, and he's still able to improve, so it's falling into his hands here, Xander.
Ty Fisher headed over to turn 4. We'll have one more lap to try and improve more and improve the delta. Back to Nathan Dupuis. Dupuis got clean racetrack this time, so I'd expect him to be good. Here he comes back around the final turn as Ty Fisher is still headed into 5. There's the checkers. Out now for Nathan Dupuis and the rest of the field. Dupuis only a 50.61. Yao Paulo Bonataman, the Orsolon Tony Kart. Third, Juan Jose Paramo on the HRI Mexico machine. Second, but still not quicker than Ty Fisher. So we'll wait here on the front stretch for the Race Lab Karting Villeneuve kart to make its way out of turn number 11. Here he comes, Ty Fisher in the 838. No improvement on lap 4. He will not go quicker. The rest of the top 5 did, but it will still be enough to hold on to pole in the session. So the Race Lab Karting boys, 50.383, new provisional pole. Juan Jose Paramo, second, a tenth and a half back. Banataman, Dupuis, Sebastian Rist moves up to the top 5 there at the end. Aiden Augustine, quickest in group number 1. Luke Tall as well, Remy Andretos as well from group number 1. All those drivers looking pretty solid. So Augustine, Tall, Andretos, Tristan Murphy, one of the rookies moving up, goes 9th, and Carter Barkus 10th over Jackson Deal in 11th. So kind of an odd blend there, Caleb, for a lot of drivers from the first of the 2 groups so far, cycling into the top 10 overall in the 30-plus driver split.
Correct, and there you go, Sebastian Rist in your top 5. So it seems like that pronunciation helped his qualifying hopes here in this one. But yeah, like you said, a really strange blend of the qualifying sessions. You have some of the guys in the slower group working their way, kind of. It's really mixed match. Only makes it harder for us to identify them. But yeah, a very mixed match group, and for these guys, it's still ought to play out, as we are yet to see Turner Brown hit the track as of yet in this KA100 Jr class, Xander.
Yeah, and now we switch focus from the slow group to the fast group here. So that was Q2 done. Half the grid is complete for qualifying. The second half of the grid getting set to go. These will be the drivers that were around 16th or 17th back to the low 30s currently on the grid, getting set to go green for their session. So that'll roll here in just a moment. We're right on schedule so far with everything in the day. Everything's running pretty smooth here as the temperatures continue to climb. We mentioned earlier we're expecting mid-80s. It's going to be a hot January Saturday here at AMR Homestead-Miami Motorplex, and that track is just going to get a lot more grip here in the morning until eventually it'll hit a certain point and start to slick off. Let's talk about some of the names we're getting set to watch here in the fast group as they line up for qualifying. Again, you can see at least the white, orange, and blue colors of Max Weiland in the Magic Kart. He's one of the many drivers on the grid there for that one. When you compare the rest of Q1 here from about a little bit on back, that'll also include Edward Kennedy right in front of him on the Nash Motorsports Energy. That's that blue, white, and red at number 899. He was 17th, so 16 made the fast group, it looks like. I believe that's Edward Kennedy indeed there in the 17th spot. Tyrone Kemper Jr. was only 100th quicker than him, and I think he just barely makes the split as it's 32, so 16 and 16 to make that one up. So yeah, Kennedy 17th. Christopher Wakefield will start to his outside and get sent out on the track second on the Sodi Racing USA PK Sports number 865. Then it's Weiland. Sammy Martinez makes his junior debut here in the 897. Then you have Michael McGoy, and there to the left of McGoy, you can easily see the bright fluorescent yellow and purple Zanello Racing colors of Alexander Vanchev, who was able to sort out his issues after warm-up and at least put some laps in. He was 22nd overall yesterday. Javier Felipe Chaparro, Sebastian Frigole will also make up this group alongside Cole Medeiros. And Ty Fisher, I believe, was set to go in this group as well, but he might have been, with the way the split went, just off of it. So that's, again, the drivers that are getting set to go green. But still plenty more classes to go, including, of course, Pro X30. Austin Garrison gearing up for his most active season in quite some time. He was 8th in warm-up, looked okay through yesterday, and he's lining up here down for a quick interview before he gets set for qualifying.
Yeah. All right, Austin. A little bit of a mic check there. We're back. You're ordering your warm. What's your order?
Taquitos.
Good. That makes you a little bit faster. P8 there and warm up. You were decently quick yesterday. I mean, do you think you learned anything this morning to help you qualifying?
Yeah, so we made a pretty big chassis adjustment. Car got a lot better this morning, but on our past lap, or a couple of them, we ended up catching somebody going a few passes. But with the times that we ran with the pass, I'm pretty confident going into qualifying. The car felt a lot better than yesterday, and yesterday we were really fast. We were third in the last session, so hopefully now we're going to boost some tire pressure a little bit, and I'm pretty confident going into qualifying.
Yeah, with rubber expected to be laid down pretty quick here. I mean, what are your expectations the rest of the day, really?
Definitely, but I for sure see the track getting faster and faster as the rubber goes on one side. Hopefully, there's a point in time where a lot of rubber gets laid down, and then when it stays down, it starts to get greasy. So you're going to be adding, people are taking away here now, but lo and behold, sometimes the pre-final you have the magic grip to go, or the track is greasy and all that. Okay, we'll see what happens today.
All right, good luck, Harrison.
All right, Dave.
Karts onto the circuit now here for Nash Motorsports KA100 Jr. And we talked about the number of names that we'll be expecting. Of course, you heard from Austin Garrison. Do apologize a little bit about the quality there on the audio, but a great point there, as he mentioned here. It's only so much of a read that they can get from warm-up. A lot still to be expected and a lot more to find of what the track's going to do throughout the day, and that's where having a guy that grew up just about an hour north of this place comes in to help your race team and get your car dialed in by knowing what this place typically does throughout the day. It's had pretty much the same track layout and same asphalt for over a decade now. The only change is what we mentioned a little bit earlier on the broadcast with the curbing, as we've got a spin in front of the field. Big moment there for Sammy Martinez in the 897, but he recovers, and they are all packed up here. This is not what you want to have in qualifying by the entire group just all lined together. Lots of traffic for the middle of this pack right now as they all shuffle around each other through turn number 4.
Yeah, it seems like everybody wants to be in front of the other, so not going to help them out in their qualifying hopes here as we see one kart pulling off. That's the 808 of 808 of
Cash Perkins there pulling off to the side and bailing out of that group there. So Cash getting out of the mess at least. Here's a look at the Sodi of Christopher Wakefield, the 865, crossed the line for the first lap. It will be a 51.6 for Wakefield, a 51.5 for Mad Max Weiland in the Magic Kart USA machine. And so a 6.12 for Max, quickest so far as the pack cycles through, and looks like we've got everyone from it. So 15 deep here in group number 2, or group number 3, before Q number 1. The second overall group split in half for qualifying. Weiland, Travis Pettit, Christopher Wakefield, who is on your screen at the moment and leads us around the circuit. Michael McGoy is 4th. Javier Felipe Chaparro is 5th. Eli Steinbruck is 6th. Mateus Romalo, Ryan Mort, Alexander Vanchev, and Ethan Sky Manuchek, your top 10. As we come onto the front stretch this time, let's see what the new lap will be. Weiland and Wakefield. Weiland got a lot closer. Big time improvement from Max Weiland, 50.692. Javier Chaparro will go to a 50.556 as well. He'll go quickest overall there for the 887 of Javier. He's aboard, of course, the Chad Dockin Racing DAP kart. So Javier Chaparro good second lap around. 50.5, that's pretty good. I don't believe that's going to be able to jump everyone that's put a lap in so far when you compare back from that first half of the session. Because Ty Fisher, a 50.383. That's our time to beat right now. Still 2/10 to find for the group. They've got 2 laps to do it. Chaparro chasing down Michael McGoy's red and white RPM Tony Kart. And as they come out of turn number 10 and over to 11 down the backstretch, they'll see one more lap around as an opportunity. This is a good tow, though, down the backstretch for Chaparro. It will be enough. No, it will not. 50.54 didn't improve much, and now he's going to get traffic as he catches up to McGoy. So he's probably going to get a little bit burned on lap 4 unless Michael McGoy hits the afterburners. And that is where we've seen actually a change to the driver behind going pole. Alexander Vanchev on the bright yellow 806, and that's enough to nip Ty Fisher as well. Fisher still holding on to second. Weiland third overall. McGoy fourth overall. Chaparro, I believe, somewhere around fifth or sixth overall, but it is Alexander Vanchev. What a roller coaster morning it's been already, but he's quickest right now.
Yeah, of course, like you said, roller coaster for sure. Wasn't able to get off the line in warm up, and now Alexander Vanchev setting the fastest lap. Let's see what he looks like this time by at a turn number 12 down the main straightaway. Let's see what it looks like for Alexander Vanchev. Can he improve? And he does, a 50.150 as he takes the checker flag that time by. So that's going to be it for Alexander Vanchev. Javier Felipe Chaparro in second. Sebastian Frigolay in third. Michael McGoy in fourth, and Max Weiland rounding up your top 5 here in KA100 Juniors, Andrew.
Let's take a look back at that moment there, just coming to start the first lap at the end of the out lap. A couple drivers going a little bit too deep into turn number 11, and that was the Sodi of Samuel Martinez going around out of the final turn just in front of the field, and Vanchev got a piece of it as well coming out of turn number 11. So as the pack begins to work its way back into pit lane, 4 laps complete here for this group, and the new benchmark 50.150, but as mentioned, we had a 49.9 in final practice yesterday from Diego Ardiles, so that's still 2/10 quicker. If he can replicate that, your fast 15 might really look a lot different than this. Here's what they look like right now. Alexander Vanchev over by 2/10 on Javier Chaparro's Chad Dawkin Racing Machine, Sebastian Frigolay, Michael McGoy, Max Weiland, Cash Perkins, Sammy Martinez, Eli Steinbruck, Christopher Wakefield, Travis Pettit, the top 10 from this group. However, with that big of a split from a full second at pole at the moment down to 10th in the group, they're going to blend in pretty evenly to the top half of Q2 that just ran earlier. Of course, Ty Fisher's 50.3 still puts him third overall, actually tied for third with Sebastian Frigolay.
Yeah, as we get set for the final group of KA100Jr presented by NAF Motorsports. A lot of big names in this. Enzo Vidmontien, as well as Turner Brown, who was super quick this morning already in the warm-up. So let's see what it looks like for these boys and girls in this final qualifying session of the day. Isaac Malquit as well, who was super quick in the morning warm-up and all day yesterday, including in happy hour. There you go on your screen now. Isaac Malquit with a little bit of support from the Zanella Racing team, but mostly a privateer throughout his career here, Xander.
Yeah, Isaac Malkid on the black nose cone and bumper, but red and white Gillard was second fastest yesterday to Ardiles, so he'll get to just line up right behind him, and he stayed close coming out of the pit lane, so that's a good start here for Isaac Malkid. And as we head down the front stretch here, you can see close behind as well are the third and fourth place drivers from yesterday, including the likes of Salvador de la Vecchia, who is right there, Enzo Vidmontien, right behind de la Vecchia. And then further back a little bit more spacing, but the top 4 are close, all towing off of Ardiles. He doesn't seem to care. He pulled away a little bit from Malkit coming out of turn 4 alone. He might be able to break the tow here on this first lap at full speed already and not help these guys out at all and just go and punch himself back to the top of the leaderboard once again.
Correct. Diego Ardiles still in the front here. Isaac Malquit right behind him, and it seems like he's losing touch a little bit with Diego Ardiles, who's currently leading the train here. Let's see what it looks like this time by at a turn number 12. Let's see where these boys and girls stack up. Diego Ardiles first across the line. Where does he play? Just 10th for Diego Ardiles. Isaac Malquit in 13th. It was actually Walter Jenkins, the 4th, I think, who ended up who worked his way up in a 6th, as well as Sebastian Garzone up in a 7th. So better starts for Sebastian Garzone and Walter Jenkins than Diego Ardiles and Isaac Malquit.
Yeah, as they head down into turn number 5, you can see Malkit so much closer now this time to Ardiles, though. We'll see where they stack up on the second lap. This one looks better for him with De La Vecchia getting shuffled around Vidmontian and backing up. More traffic is, not always a worse thing, as if you kind of get closer to start the lap, 4 to 5 car lengths away, end up on the bumper or only a car length or 2 away. Thanks to these final 2 straightaways, it can be a pretty fast lap around AMR Motorplex. There's the 844 Walter Jenkins. Across the line for everyone. Jenkins to the top. 844 to a 49.99. Walter Jenkins with a big lap there. They're on lap number 2 on the weekend race. Rollison Performance Group Cosmic. Alexander Vanchev second. Isaac Malkit third. Turner Brown. Chico moving up into the 4th spot. Lillian Scarborough into 5th. Enzo Vidmontien, Javier Chaparro, Sebastian Frigolay, Michael McGoy's lap still holding on to 9th in the group at a 50.410. And Ardiles, your fastest from final practice, down all the way in 10th, and that's probably around 11th or 12th overall. So as Jenkins had to get by De La Vecchia this lap, he'll be setting up for the 4th and final one to get a good one together. De La Vecchia is going to push him, though. 3 complete. What does it shuffle this time by? Malkit to 3rd. No, shuffle them all back. Turner Brown to 2nd there on the SCR Red Speed. Vidmontien to 3rd.
Vanchev up in a 4th, and Isaac Malkwood in 6th, but Sebastian Garzone, what a lap, a 49.701 for Sebastian Garzone. He goes up to the top of the field, and now he currently sits on the provisional pole position here, Xander.
Yeah, Turner Brown back to 3rd, Vidmontien back to 4th, Alexander Vanchev back to 5th, Sebastian Garzone on the green and white Orsolone Tony Kart has space to put another clean lap together, it looks like, here on lap number 4. This will be the run to the checkers this time by. Through the carousel we go. Garzone's about mid-pack from the release point. Ardiles and Malkit will be the first to cross. Here they come, final turn. Ardiles and Malkit at the line. Any improvement? Both of them go to 3rd and 4th. Now shuffled further back. Jenkins best of the pack. He'll go to 2nd. Brown to 3rd. Nobody quicker than Garzone, who does not improve, but he doesn't have to, as he stays on top. 49.701. Sebastian Garzone. Walter Jenkins, 10th and a quarter. 49.83. Best career national qualifying effort on home turf for Walter Jenkins. Turner Brown ends up in 3rd. Then Enzo Vidmontien 4th. Isaac Malkit in 5th. Only 2 1,000ths off of Enzo Vidmontien's Motaz Sport Kart Republic. And then you have Diego Ardiles, Alexander Vanchev, Jackson Wolney, Salvador De La Vecchia, and Lillian Scarborough, with only about a 3/10 spread for the top 6. And when you merge everyone together, Ty Fisher out of the slow group, the slowest of the 4, 13th overall. Very impressive run from the Race Lab Karting Villeneuve kart driver to go all the way that high on the leaderboard as he did. Second slowest group overall for Ty Fisher, but that will put him 13th overall. It will put him then on the 7th, or in the 6th or 7th spot, I believe, on the inside lane pre-final. So pre-final A, Ty Fisher, by going 13th, starts P7. Safe spot to be, but Garzone will lead 1 pre-final to green. Walter Jenkins, for the first time in his national career, will lead a fully filled KA100 grid to the green, as he'll be on the pole for pre-final B. Turner Brown and Enzo Vidmontien will start on the outside of the 2 pre-finals, qualifying 3rd and 4th. Then it cycles back. Malkit, Ardiles, and onward here from KA100 Jr. KA100 Sr is now on deck, but before we get to it, we'll take another moment to break away. When we come back after this word from our partners, it's KA100 Sr Qualifying time here from Homestead.
Continental U. Brandon, why are there all these charges for just over $200 from Acceleration Kart Racing's website?
That's because AKR gives you free shipping on orders of $200 or more within the continental US.
Okay, but I thought you were just getting a pair of gloves. That's what, 70 bucks?
But if I'm getting a new pair of gloves, I might as well get a new pair of shoes to match. And then on top of that, I'll get a neck brace, because with the shipping, it's basically free.
Yeah, I do not think the math checks out on that.
Everything you need, all in one place and shipped to your door for free for orders of $200 or more. Exclusions apply. Spend responsibly. Shop AKR.com.
Engines have fired for Sodi Racing USA by PK Sports KA100 Sr. The first of two groups getting set to go green. The bottom half for final practice. This is going to be the biggest qualifying groups each at 23 drivers strong. Big stories out of it will be the two drivers that have to go tail end Charlie. Alessandro DiTullio and Dalton Haynes, both rolling from the back of this group, and you can see them there creeping their way off the pit lane, knowing that they do not want to catch traffic at all. So they may sacrifice their fourth lap to at least get 3 clean ones. And to me, that's a risk versus reward scenario that's probably the smarter pick.
Yeah, of course, it's definitely a high risk, but if it works, it's going to be a high reward for these two guys. Alessandro DiTullio, very experienced. Dalton Haynes, super quick as well. They were, I think, first and third respectively at happy hour, and then unfortunately they got disqualified for the weight infringements. So now they're going to be stuck in the second group. Let's see how these two play out as the first couple of drivers begin to cross the start-finish line to set in their fast lap times. We're going to follow around with the Sodi Racing USA driver of Dalton Haynes and Alessandro DiTullio in the Inter MS white and pink.
Yeah, they're going to already push together here on the backstretch and try to run 3 clean laps together here in qualifying. So Sodi USA, KA Sr, the other drivers in this group, first one's kind of below the line, will be the likes of Michael Gliadzis, Chase Buscalia, Mateo Rubio Luengo, Eli Warren, Ivana Richards, Raheem Alibi, ZCD, Zach Clayman-Mello is back. He was 7th below the cut line here in the bottom half of the group. Valentino Garbarino, Emma Scarborough, Leo Scorpioni, believe Noah Rosser and more as you go all the way down through the rest of the pack. Ernesto Rivera, we know, was super quick yesterday. He was one of the first ones that was overall in nearly every session. We got a spinner here in the infield. That is the 953. And I'm not quite sure who we lost there, but as the times begin to populate, you'll see them cycle on the left-hand side of your screen. Bernal Valverde, quickest initially. We'll wait and see what Haynes and DiTullio do, but now they're going to catch some traffic here as Haynes has gone around DiTullio.
Only 7th fastest for Dalton Haynes with a 51.195, and it seems like Haynes has a little bit more pace than DiTullio in these early stages of qualifying. DiTullio finds himself in that 13th spot, not where he would have wanted as of yet, and he's really going to have to find a handful of time because he's going to have a lap less than the rest of the field here, Xander.
Yeah, so as they come out of turn 5 and 6 here, Dalton Haynes and Alessandro DiTullio, you can see the traffic ahead of them up the road. Quickest still, Bernal Valverde, Lucas Zabo, good lap as well that time. Asia Torres, Xavier Diaz moving up. Torres Jr. to 4th, Xavier Diaz to 3rd. This lap looks good for Haynes. The next one might get burned with traffic. But the Sodi USA driver across the loop, 49.97. That'll be enough to go 2/10 clear. DiTullio goes 4th, 50.29 behind Zabo. So we'll see if Haynes catches the traffic cleanly this lap around or not. And as well, we'll keep our eye on Bernal Valverde if he gets a 4th or 5th lap where these two drivers do not. As they head over to turn 5, Haynes, I think going to be close enough. There he is. He'll peek out to the inside and go by. And DiTullio quickly will send it through to follow so that way he can stay on a lap, and they'll go for lap number 4. Let's switch around. We'll find some more drivers here. There's a big gaggle coming out of 11 and a few more kind of on their own. Watch this 4-car pack come through. This group is packed tight. Oh, actually probably more than that behind those two. Maybe about 6 or 7 deep, and they're 3 wide down the front straightaway and qualifying. Hang on, boys.
Goodness gracious, already in this qualifying session, 3 wide. There you go, a little bit of contact in between those two drivers in there. As and that's not going to help them out at all. It's really going to burn their lap times as you see that off the racetrack and over that curb. That's a big curb on the outside of turn 4, and he completely hopped over it. Those the runoff area there as well. Some big speed bumps there on that outside. So not going to help them out at all if they take some off-track excursions. But as it stands, DiTullio currently finds himself on top of the timing screens, a 49.347 for him. Dalton Haynes 5/10 slower than DiTullio as it stands.
Yeah, as we work through, here is the 945. That is going to be one of the Rollison Performance Group Cosmics a little bit further down the boards. Luciano Sosto, Spencer Mast was the Sodi that had to make evasive action. 4 laps complete, checkers in the air. DiTullio and Haynes still top of the boards. Valverde and Zabo cannot go any quicker. Here comes DiTullio and Haynes. They also caught traffic, but ADT got a burner of a lap on lap 3 in, following Haynes through on the pass. DiTullio 49.34, Dalton Haynes 49.8. They both were well clear of the bottom half of the group. The question will be, DeTulio should be at a 49.3, close enough to probably qualify top 10 overall. Might be a little bit tougher, though, for Dalton Haynes to do the same, being half a second off of DeTulio by not really getting a clean final 2 laps in. So that kind of hurts him a bit on that Soda USA machine. Bernardo Valverde on the Orsolone Racing, Tony Kart third at a 50.0. Lucas Zabo, Xavier Diaz, Dudez Castroneves, Eduardo Castroneves, nephew to Mr. 4-time Indy 500 champion Elio Castroneves. John McCusker there in 7th. Asia Torres drops down to 8th there at the end. Dominic Carai in 9th. Sawyer Roussel on his national level debut in KA100 Sr ends in 10th. And then we saw Spencer Mast have to make evasive action. He pretty much lost his 4th and final lap there and he ends up down in 21st. And that'll probably cycle down to overall in the 40s, because this is the fast 22 onto the circuit now here. Fast maybe 23 with the way that the split all worked out. Ernesto Rivera quickest in final practice. Donovan Bonilla was quick. Colin Lloyd right there with them on the Inter MS Kart Republic. And Stephen Miller on the National Motorsports EOS carts. 3 different teams all glued together to start qualifying, and Checo's going to lead us down the backstretch here to begin lap number 1.
For number 12 now, and like you said, beginning the first lap, Stephen Miller right behind them as well. Austin Olds in this fast group. Mick Gabriel as well, returning for another national season for him. And a big story here this weekend, Eli Warren, different colors for him, the privateer out of Newcastle Motorsports Park. He's currently under the PSL karting team this weekend. Spoke to him and his dad earlier yesterday, and he said that they were excited to work with that PSL karting team with bigger facilities than they're used to, just working out of the garage at Newcastle.
Yeah, they have had quite a bit of success in Briggs 206 divisions. The CKNA Grand Nationals, he's always a factor. They were a massive privateer threat in the 100cc senior classes last year and really in junior the year before. And in a kind of partnership that we'll see him potentially pilot a barrel art in 4-cycle and 2-cycle racing. Cool opportunity to come down and try it out here at Homestead. I'm not sure exactly, but no expectations this weekend here, at least so far. Like you said, good start off here to go into the fast group of the 2 splits for qualifying. First lap in the books. No one really too quick, it looks like, at the moment for anyone in that pack. Rivera, Lloyd, everyone else. Steven Eisert way back on the PK Sports Sodi Racing USA number 939. Best of the group so far. He's 3rd overall, and wow, got a little bit sideways there. Won't stay 3rd probably for long here as lap number 2. He nearly loops it in turn number 5. That was a bit wild there from the senior rookie, Steven Eisert.
Yeah, definitely not what Steven Eisert would have wanted. Now going to have to reset. Like we said, moments like that aren't going to help your qualifying out, and it's really just going to mess up your focus. So for him, it's going to be important to lock back in and try to get back in the rhythm of things. This time by for Ernesto Rivera across the line. Can he improve? Doesn't go faster than Alessandro DeTulio as of yet, but they're working their way further up the field, Sandra.
Yeah, that time moves up to 4th, 49.75. Dalton Haynes has been bumped down to 7th so far with 2 laps still to go. Stephen Miller, good lap, he's 5th. Colin Lloyd is 2nd. Still pushing on Ernesto Rivera, and they're going to probably safely go into the first couple of rows. It'll just be between any of these 3 if they can go quicker, and anyone else maybe to kind of surprise us from it. Eisert looked like he might have been able to do that with that flying opening lap. Not seeing it yet. Here's Alex Mercado. Talk about an actual senior rookie on the SCR Red Speed. I should correct myself. Steven Eisert's rookie senior season was not too many races in the spotlight. Raced exclusively really on the West Coast. We only got to see him at Vegas season with that spectacular win at Rock Vegas and a good run to the Challenge of the Americas. Now getting to run a whole lot more events on the rest of the country here with the Soda USA group. 5th there on the 3rd lap for Eisert, DeTulio, Lloyd, Garbarino, Rivera. No changes. DeTulio's 49.3. That flyer is still holding. 1 lap to go for everyone as we watch quick Mick Gabriel in the middle of this pack headed down to turn 5 behind Donovan Bonilla.
Yeah, correct. Mick Gabriel super fast here as well as Colin Lloyd. Currently it's Inter MS 1-2. Like you said, Colin Lloyd joining the Inter MS team for a full senior campaign in the KA100 class, but also under DeTulio still 2/10 better than his teammate in Colin Lloyd. Lorenzo Kaufman in 3rd, Rivera in 4th, and Anthony Rivera in 4th, and Ernesto Rivera in 5th here. Across the line for the final time for all these drivers, Stephen Miller up in a 2nd. Colin Lloyd falls back to 3rd. Let's see what it looks like this time by for the rest of the field. Nobody can improve. Rivera doesn't improve.
Yeah, no changes at all Miller and Lloyd get better. They go to second and third. They nip Rivera at the end. But ADT out of the slow group. He's now 3 for 3 on sessions today. DeTulio fastest in both senior division single speed warm-ups in KA Senior and Pro X30. And now provisionally on the pole here in KA Senior qualifying. Miller in his KA Senior debut will join him on the front row. Lloyd will make it an inter-MS inside lane in the first 2 rows with Rivera joining him. How about Quentin Angeli? Best career qualifying effort for the Rocket Racing FK. He's 5th here as things cycle out. Lorenzo Kaufman 6th. Anthony Rivera, another privateer effort with an impressive run for this young superstar in his 2nd season in senior. He's 7th. Dono goes 8th. Valentino Garbarino in 9th. And Alex Mercado rounds out the top 10 for Sodi USA KA Senior. Isert down in 11th. DeMello in 12th. Mick Gabriel down 13th. The Scorpione 14th. Couple big names further back than Eli Warren 16th. We mentioned Dalton Haynes didn't get a good final 2 laps. He ends up 17th compared to his kind of sparring partner in ADT, who ends up top of the board. So a big spread there by just getting a bit of clean air at the right time, and that means that we should be in for some very good racing, because if you use those two as the front and the back end of what you might expect the lead pack to potentially be, that's 17 drivers with a real shot. And again, Haynes was close with a lot of drivers behind him as well. Emma Scarborough only 300s back to end up in 18th. But that wraps KA100 Senior. Next up, it's Team U-Race Micro Swift as the youngest superstars in the SuperCarts USA structure get set to go green. Well, qualifying concluded here, and while we await the Micro Swift division presented by Team U-Race head onto the racetrack, let's go down to our top qualifier in KA100 Sr. ADT out of the slow group goes top of the boards here, and he's standing by with Alexander Searle. Alex?
Thank you, Xander. Ale, that was an impressive qualifying showing from you. I mean, from yesterday being DQ'd in the happy hour, having to start in the slow group, were you expecting this?
Yeah, my goal was just to be top 5. I knew being in the slow group was not going to be good. It was going to be a little bit tough, but I think me and Dalton and I had a good gap to the guys in front, but then some guys spun. So while I was seeing the guys spinning, I was a little bit worried, but yeah, we were able to put a lap together, and yeah, good to be on pole.
I'd say it's an impressive turnaround from yesterday in both classes. I mean, you're quick in X30 as well. Do you think you have it figured out for both classes?
Yeah, K, I think we've been pretty good all week. X30, we were struggling. This morning was a lot better for both Danilo and I. So yeah, I'm confident going into Qualy, and yeah, I'm looking at the same. Pole position is nice, but just to be in top 5, just to race from there is good enough.
All right, good luck, Ale.
Thank you.
There you hear it from Alessandro DeTullio, just at least giving himself a good place to fight from, whether it's on the pole or in the first couple of rows. He feels pretty safe from there. And again, let's take a look back at that qualifying session where him and Dalton Haynes had to get through a bit of traffic, of course, to get the clear air for Ale to put the lap together that he was able to do. So we've got that look there. That was, again, the big moment there on this lap that he was able to get through in turn number 5. And we watched them all the way through. Haynes was going by for that pass in turn 5, and Ale quickly said, you know what, this is a good lap. I want to make sure that I can fill that hole without having to try and make a new one or go offline. And it was perfectly timed, and it was enough with the toe that he got on the backstretch as well to go top of the boards by overall a 10th on the entire field. So very impressive from Alessandro DeTullio. However, let's go down to the rest of the drivers as the scale line continues to roll on through. Ernesto Rivera, of course, we only get to see him a little bit more here before he moves fully across the pond for the Spanish F4 season. He ends up with a good qualifying after fastest in Friday practice.
Thank you, Xander. Ernesto, this is one of the last times we're going to see you here in the States, but you're going to go out swinging. Pretty good qualifying session for you. I mean, where's your mindset at, for the rest of the day?
Yeah, it's impressive for Alessandro to be starting last and be on pole. I was leading everyone, and so 4th is not a bad place.
Now, yeah, you mentioned that, right? You had pretty much no toe that entire session, so to be 4th, I mean, you must be pretty confident for these races. How important is a toe here, though, in the KA100 class? And I mean, do you think it's going to play a factor in the race?
Yeah, for sure, that toe is like really, really important because there's now a lot of wind, so you gain probably 3-4 tenths in the toe.
And talk to me about kind of the track evolution, right? With some of the junior categories putting down a lot of rubber. What can we expect throughout the day?
Yeah, the new tire compound seems great. It seems like it puts much more rubber than the other compound. So I think the track's gonna keep evolving to more grip, and I hope it gets more grippy.
All right, thank you, Ernesto.
Thank you.
Good to see Ernesto in good spirits, and just like with Alessandro DeTullio, he's got to get through the scales, get back over to the Rollison Performance Group pits, and get set to try and qualify that Pro X30 machine against a stacked grid of drivers. This is probably one of the stronger overall fields here this weekend that we've seen. It's always strong. We come down to Homestead for the SKUSA Winter Series because it's a time of year when you just don't have a lot of other racing going on when it comes to karting or, in general, other motorsports. It's why we get to see Ernesto here before he gets set for Spanish F4. Last year, of course, Noel Leon before going over and competing in a number of different Formula Regional Championships over in Europe as well. And along with that, you have all kinds of superstars hanging in the pits, like Elio Castroneves, who even put some practice laps in on Thursday in a KA100 Sr machine. So to get that, you normally get pretty strong fields, but I think what makes this year so special is it seems like for all the strong drivers, they're on extremely impressive equipment. A lot of drivers on, of course, the OTK brand. That's been the gold standard for quite some time. Kart Republic was phenomenal last year. A number of different drivers up front on that. Harley Keeble proved that the Sodi machine can go pretty quick, and they've been quick on it. Him and Dalton Haynes both this weekend. Steven Eisert was quick there in qualifying as well, and Dustin Salavaria's looked good, so that's another good brand. And then, of course, you add in the PSL Beryl Art boys are always strong. There's so many really good level programs behind good level drivers that it makes it so hard to predict. Of course, so many categories here from the top to the bottom. And again, we start at the bottom here in just a few moments with our Microswift class presented by U-Raced, ages 7 to 10 years old, getting set to go green as the grid continues to get set to go. And of course, you can also check out, like some of our fellow viewers are, the Get Pride, Kart Chaser, and now official SKUSA merchandise tent. Right in the middle of the pits there behind the main viewing area. There's also their website, getpride.com, if you want to check out the merchandise available for our official Kart Chaser line, their lines as well. And you can get a number of different race series specific merchandise also, including SKUSA's official merchandise here this weekend. So the wind's blowing, the tent's holding on, but man, it's getting a little bit breezy, which I'm sure is welcomed though nonetheless, Caleb, because it is already pretty hot outside.
Of course, it's been a very humid weekend, pretty much all weekend long. Temperatures were up to the almost 80s, you know, coming from the south in Texas myself. It was much colder over there, surprisingly, but coming to Florida to the coast, it's really nice to feel that breeze, Andrew.
Yeah, then to have that, that's what's nice about it here. As hot as it is, being so close to the coast, like you said, you pretty much always have a breeze. You don't get 0-mile-an-hour wind days. You get 5-mile-an-hour wind days. That's the lowest. Then it's going to pick up 20, 30 miles an hour, and that's when you got to worry about all your tents, all your structures, and especially for us as well in the KC booth, trying to make sure our stuff doesn't get blown around or our camera guys don't end up falling off. The same with the SKUSA officials up on the scissor lift. So the breeze is welcome. It makes it feel probably about 5 degrees cooler than what it is. So 85 here is more like 80, but it's still 80 degrees. That's still pretty hot.
Of course, but with the wind, it also pushes in the clouds. We're so close to the coast. So here at Homestead in Miami, I don't really want to say the R word, but it's obviously very much of a factor here in Miami because we've seen it all weekend long. We saw last weekend it was super wet here. All weekend long, it's been wet all week, so it's definitely still a factor to play in. I don't want to jinx anyone or our weekend because I don't really want to have to change socks tomorrow, Xander. But hopefully it stays dry this weekend.
You wear the same socks 2 days in a row?
No, I mean I wear different pairs, but I always bring a backup pair with me. You know, you always got to stay prepared.
Fair enough, Caleb. Here again, we're just moments away from Team U-Race Microswift getting set to go green here as the KA100 seniors are rolling through the scale line. And I think part of the delay a little bit is while we are on time, we're also just hanging tight on the last few drivers to clear up the scale line a bit so we don't back that queue up onto the racetrack. One driver who was racing here last year is not racing this weekend, but we know is going to be back behind the wheel because he loves to do it, and that's Magic Kart USA's Magic Man, AJ Myers. Dave?
Yeah, Xander, we're down here with a familiar face who's not racing this weekend, but AJ Myers, you're here in a different capacity. What's up with you?
Just helping all the Magic guys out this weekend while we get ready for the season to start. First race is going to be Pro Tour, and just getting ready for that.
So how are the Magic karts doing? How are they taking to this track?
We don't have the biggest numbers in shifters we ever had. We got Michael in the senior, his first time here. He's been struggling, but chipping away at it. I hope to get some more out of him today. We'll see. Masters guys, there's no other Masters here, so we're doing really good in that. But we got a new X30 kart we're trying out here with the new driver and see how that goes as well.
So AJ, you know, I always know the answer when I ask this when you're racing, but I'm trusting you to be unbiased this time because AJ Myers is not the fastest because AJ Myers ain't racing this weekend. All right, so looking at the pro shifter category right now, who are the top guys and who might be saving a little bit? I know Morgan was being a bit cagey about some adjustments he was making in practice. Who's fast right now?
I mean, you got the three Morgado, Formal, and then Isambard. My money, Isambard. The kid, I raced him last year, I think maybe the year before that, this series. I mean, he gave me the biggest run for my money here. It was a battle all the way through, and I'm confident that I could go out there and do it again. I think he's a good 10th ahead right now.
So that's the unbiased opinion of AJ Myers. We're looking forward to seeing him later this season.
Cool to hear that from AJ. I'm sure he's having some fun on a low-stress weekend here before he gets set for more racing later this year. He had a very busy year and a very impressive year at that. When they switched over from one engine manufacturer or engine builder to another, it seemed pretty seamless. Got back to victory lane, dominated pretty much the entire summer, and of course with those massive wins of the SKUSA Pro Tour finale at Summer Nats by multiple seconds over one of the best pro shifter fields on the year. And then at the Super Nationals, led the field to green, just kind of missed it a little bit on the setup to win that main event, but still stayed inside the top 5 and made it onto the box. He'll be back again this year for a whole lot more action when we get around to it. But for Team U Race Micro Swift here, the grid continues to hang tight. So of course, when you talk about A.J. Myers over the last couple of years, we got to give a little bit of love to one of our high-profile viewers here hanging out with us here this morning on the live chat, and that's Marian Kremers. I want to send, of course, over the live broadcast, a huge congratulations that we miss you, Marian, here at the racetrack. The newly signed Tony Kart official factory race team driver in the KZ category in Europe. He's looking to try and make it back over for a couple of U.S. starts. We loved having him around last year. We got some great storylines out of him and A.J. and the entire pro shifter field over the last 2 years. And we know that Marian is looking for that elusive Supernats victory. He's come oh so close, and there is no question in my mind that he's going to find a way to get back there for that, but hopefully we get to see him quite a bit this year. Great personality to have in the pits, one of the most talented drivers we've seen in pro shifter, race full-time in the U.S. the last few years. And while it's a bit of a loss for us, it's a well wishes to him because we know that it's a super cool opportunity to get to drive for one of the biggest brands in our sport over in the FIA championships again.
Yeah, of course. Great for Marian Kremers, and like you said, still searching for that elusive Supernats victory. And if I had $1 for every time Marian finished second at the Supernats, I think I'd have about $3 right now, Xander. Did he finish second 3 times, or was it more like 4?
It's weird, but then again, it's kind of weird that it happened 3 or 4 times, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Nonetheless, we know he can take his ribs well, and he's ready to get back after it. Beyond that, of course, can't just talk about the podiums of the Supernats. You're talking about our 2-time defending SKUSA Pro Tour champion that would love to try and find a way to defend his crown this year with, of course, that very exciting new Pro Show format that is going to really put the drivers and teams in a bit of a bubble coming later this year, beginning in March at the SKUSA Pro Tour in Orlando. Hot pit practices on Friday and on Thursday. Saturday with a Q1, Q2 stage qualifying format, a pre-final, and then a lengthy main event on Sunday afternoon as well, and primetime coverage right in the late afternoon. Of course, it works out good for the race teams. They get full use of their superstars to help coach and develop in all the semi-pro categories from 8 a.m. to 3, and it makes it easier for us to put a bigger highlight on our future stars like the Micro Swifts, with our Pro Shifters and Pro X30s moved out of the way to the end of the day. They're at the back of the format right now. Our Micro Swifts are right around the middle of our class lineup. KA100 Master will then roll after them, and then we'll go into X30 Jr, Pro and Master Shifter, and Pro X30. So that's, again, where the lineup goes. And like I said, I believe part of the holding pattern that we're in right now is just the Team U-Race Micro Swifts. It's a full class, so we wanted to make sure that there was plenty of time for the KA100 Seniors to move through the scale line. Big classes all the way through, and everyone's got to make sure they meet or exceed minimum weight. With that, gives us a moment here for one more word from our partners. When we come back, the young superstars will be on the racetrack for qualifying.
Here at MPG Motorsports, our main goal is to provide the best pathway to professional motorsports for our entire team, drivers and mechanics alike. based out of Whiteland Raceway Park in Indiana. For more information, contact us at chase@mpg-motorsports.com.
Are you looking for an advantage in your competition? Well, Car Class has done the hard work for you. We've travelled to your racetracks to give you the inside knowledge. So what does Car Class offer? We've got drone footage that captures the racing lines, visual markers for your braking points, acceleration zones, and the best overtake opportunities on your racetrack. Pedal cam to show you where to brake and when to accelerate, and 360-degree footage to make sure you don't miss any parts on the racetrack. We've covered 13 racetracks in the United States, and Australia, you're up next. So visit carclass.com to get your track information.
All right, as we come back here with Team U-Race Microswift getting set to go here this weekend, we've talked about all the new names and faces that were quick. Danny O'Gara was second quick, and you may not recognize that last name as much as you might this one. He is the son of former IndyCar Series driver Sarah Fisher, and she's standing by down here in pit lane while her son gets set to get out for qualifying here in what should be a pretty good season in Microswift based on how his practice has gone this week. Dave, you got us down there? Dave, you got a read on us down there here? Let's send it back down to you this time. Sorry,
yeah, we're down here with a special guest, someone who's had some success here at this track, podiuming in IndyCar in 2001, if I remember correctly. Yeah, oh yeah, I dropped that on. Sarah Fisher, tell us what you're doing here, Sarah.
Well, my son, Danny O'Gara, this is our first SKUSA race. We stayed down here after Daytona. He won the Daytona doubles, so we were really proud of him. It's just, karting is the best you can get. And I say hi to all the new Kart Chaser followers because a bunch of them subscribe back home. We have a huge Irish family back home that are watching. So it's a lot of fun, and we'll just see how we do.
Sounds good, and you know, there's some rumors that Elio Castro Neves is around. Well, you know, what about a mid-2000s grudge match here? What do you think about that?
I saw him yesterday, and he's having a blast. It's always great to see how happy he is and behind the wheel of a car. But I'm going to leave that to Danny today, and you know, we're as ready as we can be. So you know, I'm just nervous mom at this point.
Nervous mom cheering for Danny O'Gara. We'll be seeing him on track very shortly. Thank you, Sarah.
Again, so cool about that here where we get to see all the time in karting is the next generation of stars here, and you get to see some of your heroes that you've watched for many years. In a case the same for all of us here working on the race Kart Chaser team and everyone in the paddock coming through. We've had plenty of big names just the last couple of seasons. Keelan Harvick, of course, son of multi-time NASCAR champion Kevin Harvick. I'm sure they're probably watching or tuning in here and there throughout his super busy calendar of about everything under the sun. They were testing a late model just yesterday for Keelan, and Kevin captioned it on Instagram, "Please don't tell Mom." So they've been a front runner, of course. He's getting ready to run a junior campaign when he's able to make American kart races here. You have Parker Ives, who was a standout superstar last year in Microswift, won the U.S. Pro Kart Series title, contended for multiple wins elsewhere, including the Super Nationals, where he ran up front all weekend long. That's, of course, the son of longtime NASCAR Cup Series crew chief Greg Ives, who has that kart dialed in his Mini Swift debut and will need to be here after, unfortunately, having a bit of an issue rolling off the grid in qualifying. But no doubt Parker's got some racecraft. He can move forward, and the list just goes on. Of course, the Weldon brothers as well. Big-time wins here. Great battles between Oliver Weldon and Keelan Harvick years ago. And you go down the grid, and sometimes you see drivers from all across the world in motorsport. You have legends of some of the Brazilian stock car drivers racing here, and then you go up to the age ranks. You've got KA Master with some of those guys that were racing other forms of discipline, other disciplines of motorsport, and came back and are racing these types of races as well. And like Sarah mentioned, Elio seemed like he was having a good time yesterday. He was all smiles on camera. We were taking pictures around throughout Thursday practice, but he's got his nephew to root on here this weekend with Eduardo Castroneves, who had a decent qualifying run in that first group of two in KA100 Sr. But for Microswift, two groups. U-Race Micro finally onto the racetrack now as the scale line started to move a little bit forward, and we're ready to watch the next generation of motorsport superstars make their way out and put the first laps in for qualifying in 2024.
Yeah, as we get set here for this qualifying session, the likes of Liam Nachawati, Brody Stoffel, who was quick, Zane Burgess as well, Dutch Westbrook, in this class. A lot of big names here in this Micro Swift class. A lot of returning drivers. A lot of drivers that were super young last year, ranging from the seven-year age range. Very young last year, but this year they've really come into their own for multiple of these drivers who are getting set now to set in their fast lap times here in the first qualifying group in Micro Swift.
Yeah, first lap's on by the line here. Zane Burgess was quickest overall in Micro Swift qualifying. So as the field continues to roll, so Zane Burgess will be one of the drivers we'll see in the next group. In this group, of course, that's about a 5-car pack. Liam Nachawati, Nico Salazar, Anthony Mazzaculo, Leo Simone, I believe, is in this group as well. Parker Stewart was top 10 in warm-up. I don't know if he made the cut line or not of other names that were quick. We know that we'll be again seeing half of them coming forward in the second group, including Danny O'Gara and Zane Burgess, as they were first and second out of the 44. A little more passes made in turn 11. That'll spread them out. Cameron Johnson quickest across the line. Marcelo Flores, Marco Burgess, Nicholas Nieble, George Ho, Nolan Carney, Samuel Chavarri, Pato Medina, Dutch Westbrook, Austin Taylor, your top 10 on the opening lap with a big spread. But Cameron Johnson's first lap, 54.845 for Cameron Johnson in the 210 machine as the field heads down to turn number 5.
Of course, and we've talked a lot about these slower groups here, Xander, that it's really important for the guy currently out in front to really, if you want to intermix yourself well with the faster group, you really need to set yourself apart from the rest of the second group, because you want to intermix well with the faster group. So it's going to be important for these guys to really set themselves apart, for the likes of Liam Nachawati as well, who's been quick. We've seen him across multiple national series and regional series, so it's going to be important for Liam Nachawati to try and set himself apart here.
Across the line this time here in U-Race Micro Swift, the time starting to flutter up. Marcelo Flores a little better that time in the 212. Parolin, he goes to the top. Cameron Johnson right there behind him there on that OTK machine, the BJR MDRLN cart for Cameron. Second in the 210 still, and they are a long ways up on the rest of the pack. My goodness. Nachawati back on by 0.8 in third, although granted he hasn't put his second lap in yet. I don't know how far back Liam had backed off, because then the next one's up. Logan Arteta, Samuel Chavarri, everyone's put in a decent one. There's Nachawati's time, so he must have waited all the way to the end of the group to try and put a lap together. That's the number 280 machine, and he's at the back of the pack, but they should all get the same amount of laps here, looking at 4 laps in qualifying for U-Race Micro Swift. Down the backstretch, another good lap for Flores. Marcelo Flores pulled away further from Johnson, little wide in 11, and it will cost him a bit. 54.3, no improvement that time by.
Yeah, no improvement that time by for Marcelo Flores. Not able to go faster. Cameron Johnson isn't able to go faster either. Liam Nachawati next across the line out of your top 3, and Nolan Carney in 4th still as it stands. Dutch Westbrook in the 233, the Dallas, Texas native. Up in a 5th here as it stands. Marcus Burgess in 6th. Logan Arteta in 7th. Austin Taylor currently sits in 8th. George Ho in 9th. And Hudson Howard going to round up your top 10 here in this slower group of your Micro Swift qualifying, presented by Team U-Race. As qualifying begins to shuffle out, the checkered flag is out this time by. Marcelo Flores improves, a 53.693 for him. Cameron Johnson not able to go faster. Marcus Burgess is able to go faster, and Liam Nachawati falls back to 5th. Joining me here in the booth now, Alex, you're a bit familiar with some of these young drivers. Just tell me a little bit about them.
Yeah, I mean, these young kids are some of the future talents of the sport, right, and already making names for themselves. I mean, I want to give a quick shout out. Obviously, Marcelo Flores, Cameron Johnson, 1-2, but Marcos Burgess, one of the guys that I was coaching for a lot of last year, puts himself in a P3 position. So very, very impressive for him. Liam Nachawati as well. Was able to work with him a little bit last week. Expected this from him. I mean, maybe even a little bit faster from what we saw in last week's pace, but overall, a lot of these guys have been really impressive to me. And like I said, I mean, these are some of the kids that we're going to see a few years down the line in the junior and senior categories.
Correct. Yeah, these are definitely the stars of the future, and thankfully for our social team, opening up the new Kart Chaser Kids page. You know, a little shout out to them. And we're going to see more of these kids able to get more interviews and put them more in the limelight, as they are going to be the stars of the future here, Alex.
Yeah, I'm excited for the launch of that, right? Because a lot of the kids, they deserve the spotlight, and they're going to get it this year for sure. And it's going to be good practice for them for when we put them in the spotlight. So excited to see what these kids can do. And, you know, like I always mention it, I'm like a broken record when I say it, but the micro and mini Swift races are, to me, some of the best races we see week in and week out.
Yeah, we've seen some of the best racing in these younger classes. We saw it last year at the at multiple races. I'm not just going to name one, because there was many races where we saw 3 wide across the finish line, a drag race to the line, and it's happened so many times that I'm not going to single out one single race. We're going to now get set to go with the faster group in qualifying here for your micro Swift class, presented by Team U-Race, as the first couple of drivers cross the line now. Brody Stoffel in the mix there, as well as another Kart USA entry.
Yeah, that's Zane Burgess. Zane Burgess is going to be pretty much the kid to watch all year long in the micro Swift class. A lot of his competitors moved up to mini Swift this year, so Zane right now, I expect him to, I don't want to say be dominant this year, but to be definitely a top 3 driver all year long. And so Zane Burgess right now leading the group to the first lap here in qualifying. Expect that Sodi Kart driver to do pretty well, as an MPG driver behind him as well. I believe that might be Danny O'Gara. So yeah, let's see what these two can do up front.
Yeah, correct. And the fastest lap yesterday afternoon during happy hour was a 53.5. Marcelo Flores in that first micro Swift session was able to put down a 53.693, a good lap by him, a 10th off of what it looked like yesterday. That time by for Danny O'Gara and Zane Burgess across the line. Let's see where they ended up. Zane Burgess in third, Danny O'Gara in second, so they currently move up. Not far off of Marcelo Flores, 2/10 off of Marcelo Flores, who currently sits on the provisional pole position. But I do expect Zane Burgess and Danny O'Gara to continue to improve their lap times here, Alex.
Yeah, times are going to continue to tumble, right? Because, I mean, as much as the 53.5 from yesterday's happy hour is somewhat representative of what we're going to see here, the track is going to continue to rubber in, and as these younger categories are laying down the rubber, as we've heard from some of the senior guys who are struggling to stay ahead of the curve in terms of racetrack, I expect the times to fall pretty rapid here. A 53.8 on the first lap is impressive from the Sodi Kart driver Zane Burgess and Danny O'Gara. So let's see, Burgess right now has extended a gap here to O'Gara, so I expect a monster lap here from Burgess. 53.2. What an absolute flyer there for the 255. He's put 3/10 on the field, Caleb.
Yeah, what a lap there by Zane Burgess. And you said it, he pulled a little bit of a gap there on Danny O'Gara. Currently sits in third, a 53.508. 3/10 faster last time by for Zane Burgess on Danny O'Gara. Marcelo Flores falls back to that 4th spot, and Easton Kubinski is currently in second, a 53.499 for him. A good lap for him as well.
Yeah, if we look down, I mean, Marcelo Flores holding on to a P4 there, but some of the guys that we saw in that top 3, top 5 positions, Marcos Burgess down to 17th, Liam Nakawati, one of the biggest names that we see here in the Microsoft category, 19th, so not really what we would have expected there from the Paralympic driver, but so far so good for these the fast group drivers. All of them are slotting into where they sort of expect to be here, as we see Zane Burgess cross the line, a 53.1 for Danny O'Gara. He's going to take the top spot. The MPG driver puts 7 thousandths between your top 2. Jake Manalio slots in with a 53.3 to go into P3. Easton Kabinski doesn't improve, but he's going to stay in 4th. And Brody Stoffel, he's going to round out your top 5 so far with 1 lap remaining here.
Yeah, of course, Brody Stoffel again in the Sodi Kart USA, the Sodi Kart USA entry, the 229. Is going to have 1 more lap around the track. 3 laps complete, and this is going to be the last time by for all of these drivers. Danny O'Gara, provisional pole position, like Alex said, a 53.197. Zane Burgess in that Sodi Kart USA racing entry as well, a 53.280, almost a 10th of a second for Zane Burgess to find if he wants to sit on that provisional pole position into turn 12. We go for the last time here in qualifying. The checkered flag is out. What is it going to look like for Zane Burgess? Can he improve? He does. A 53.145 for Zane Burgess. Danny O'Gara was able to go faster, but not able to improve. Brody Stoffel able to go quicker, but he falls down further back. Jake Manalio up in a 3rd. Easton Kubinski in 4th. Parker Stewart out of nowhere in 5th. And Bernardo Guber in your top 6 here, Alex.
So Marcelo Flores, fastest of the slow group. He's going to stick to a top 10. I mean, I'm sure he'll be happy with that considering he wasn't in the group he would want it to be. But for Danny O'Gara, I thought that would have been the pole lap, but I think he made a slight mistake in that final corner. Got a little bit too much curbing. Kart got a little upset there, so wasn't able to maximize the toe on Burgess coming to the line. Zane Burgess with a flyer there to put 200th between your top two, but then 2.5 tenths to Jake Manalio, Issa Kabinski, and then Parker Stewart rounding out your top 5. 3.5 tenths separating them. I expect this to be a good one, Caleb.
Yeah, it'll definitely be a good one. Like you said, they're super close on lap times. A little bit further ahead than the rest of the field. Jake Manalio in third, a little bit 2 tenths quicker the top two compared to third of Jake Manalio and Easton Kubinski.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is for sure going to be one of the better races that we get to watch. But coming up next, Caleb, what do we got? We got X30 Jr. Some of the sorry, this is going to be Masters. I'm sorry. So Masters guys coming out here. I mean, these are some of the veterans of the sport. And I'm excited to see what they can do, Caleb.
Yeah, of course. And speaking of earlier of Elio Castroneves, I was hearing rumors that he was supposed to race here this weekend. Unfortunately, he isn't going to race, so that's obviously unfortunate. But it would have been nice to see him out here with some of these older guys racing. Elio Castroneves isn't that old. 4 Indy 500s to his name, so good for him. But we're obviously not going to see him out here this weekend, unfortunately. But a lot of big names. Luis Quinones obviously not able to show up here this weekend. But Miguel Mir, we see him out here again in the at the SKUSA Winter Series, so it's going to be exciting to see him as well compete up at the front.
Yeah, another guy to mention. I mean, Michel Garrido, he's a hometown hero here. He's got a lot of wins to his name around Homestead-Miami Speedway on the kart track. So I expect Michel Garrido to be very quick here, rolling off back of the grid. But I mean, I'm sure he'll be able to put himself in a good position. Miguel Mir, one of your close buddies there here in the KA Master class. A few other guys to point out, right? We got Luis Quinones, Iron Sanchez, Elliot Van Rankin, a few of the guys to mention. Kim Carapelletti as well, a legend here in the KA Masters class. I mean, this is one of those classes where, you know, it's the qualifying tends to be very, very important, and for it being a KA class, slower of you know, the X30 and shifter guys, right, with momentum racing being a little bit more prominent here. So the draft is going to be important. You're going to see a lot of gamesmanship, I suspect, being played.
Yeah, correct. I mean, we saw it earlier. I mean, not too much, but most of these guys are really going to want to have clean air when they go out. We saw Alessandro Tullio and Dalton Haynes obviously get caught up with a little bit of traffic, but at the start of qualifying, they set themselves apart from the rest of the field, wanted to go out in the back. So that's going to be important for guys like Miguel Mir to really try to get clean laps in this early session, and they're looking for a top spot. Like you said, we heard from some of the other drivers that the draft isn't that important here. It'd obviously be nice to have one, but it isn't that important, Alex.
Yeah, it's not important for some of the guys in the X30 and even shifter class, but in KA, it's always nice to have. I mean, for guys like, you know, Mario Dominguez, Michel Garrido, and maybe even Diego Rodriguez, those guys, they've been quick all weekend. They may not need a tow, right? But for guys that have teammates, I mean, why not go out there with your buddy and see what you can do? Maybe do a little tango together. So 2 is always faster than 1 around this place. So I'd be shocked if the guy who gets pole isn't with a buddy. But so far, there's Michel Garrido, one of the fastest guys all weekend long. He's leading this group, the likes of Miguel Mir behind him. So Michel Garrido, I'll be curious to see if this is the spot he wants to be in or if he's going to drop back. So far, he is up on the wheel, starting his first flying lap.
Yeah, first time around for Michel Garrido and then Alessandro's racing livery.
Yeah, Michel Garrido rounding through turns 3 and 4 right now. Miguel Mir looks to be a little bit quicker as they stand. It's only the first lap. Tire pressures are still coming in. I'll be curious to see if Michel Garrido decides to look back and maybe he's like, I don't want to lead this group. Being first is not always the best place to be in KA, so let's see what he can do. Miguel Mir right now is probably rubbing his hands together. He loves where he's at. He's behind one of the quickest guys. Miguel Mir was top 3 this morning and even in happy hour yesterday, so these are 2 guys that I expect to be at the front here. That's the Orsalon driver of Miguel Mir. It looks to be closing the gap there, but how about the driver behind him as well? I mean, they are closing the gap on Michel Garrido. Michel Garrido's going to have to drop back here if he wants a chance at pole.
Yeah, of course, definitely for him. He's it's pretty much better to chase something than to be chased, they say in racing and in qualifying as well. Puts that fire in your belly to go after something. So for Miguel Mir, he's in the perfect spot. That time by, though, Michel Garrido with a purple lap time at 51.355. Miguel Mir 3/10 slower in second. Ruben Ravello in third. Alan Giraldi in fourth. And Diego Rodriguez rounding up your top 5 here in KA100 Master.
Yeah, I mean, the lap times are already quicker than what we saw this morning, right? So it's really showing how important new tires are and how much this track is really rubbered in. So impressive lap times across the board there. Michel Garrido, 3/10 just about clear of the field. So the Alessandro's driver there is absolutely rolling. Looks to be pulling away now from Miguel Mir as well. So, I mean, we have the likes of Ruben Ravello and Alan Giraldi as well there, closing the gap a little bit, but so far, so good for Michel Garrido.
Yeah, for the 407, Michel Garrido this time by, he is able to improve, but Miguel Mir goes quicker. A 51.124 for Miguel Mir. Michel Garrido falls back to second. A 10th slower than Miguel Mir. Ruben Ravello able to improve as well in third, and Alan Giraldi in your top 4, your 4th spot there for Mr. Giraldi.
Yeah, this is more of what I expected here, right? I mean, Garrido started the pace. He kind of showed what to expect out of his go-kart. Miguel Mir letting the tires come in, being very patient. The kart's hopping around a little bit more than he would like there through that carousel, but the kart seems to be sticking for him so far, and he's a little quicker than Garrido. But how about Ruben Ravello there, sitting in that 3rd spot on track and on pace as well. He might be in the best spot here to get sort of what we call a double toe there. You see him up on the wheel through turn 12. Let's see what happens as they cross the line. Who's going to get it? Garrido goes purple. Miguel Mir doesn't improve. Ravello improves, but not enough. It is 0.07 of a second separating your top 3 right now, but it's Garrido on top for the 51 flat.
Yeah, Garrido currently leading the pack still as it stands, less than a tenth quicker than Miguel Mir, who wasn't able to improve last time by. Still a flyer, though, for Miguel Mir, just not able to go much faster. On your screen now is the 428 of Ruben Ravello in that red suit. There's Michel Garrido, and then Miguel Mir behind him, and there goes Ruben Ravello. Checkered flag will be out this time by. Let's see where it stands when they cross the stripe.
Yeah, through turns 9, 10, and 11 now for your top 3 drivers. Looks to me like Michel Garrido might have pulled off there. I don't see him in front of Miguel Mir, so Miguel Mir going to be all on his lonesome here as they round turn 12. What's the Orsilon driver got? Anything for Garrido? No. Ravello doesn't improve either, so Miguel Mir is going to stay in P2. Garrido only needed 3 laps to go purple with a 51.09, 300th to Miguel Mir. Ravello is in 3rd. Diego Rodriguez, your fastest guy this morning, is going to start P4, and Alan Giraldi there with a 51.4 improves. Only needed 2 laps for his best lap, so 3/10 separating your top 5. This is going to be a pretty close one here.
Yeah, and I think Ravello actually pulled in early there behind Miguel Mir. Didn't think he was improving, so decided to pull into the pits, save those tires, a little bit fresher tires, not really much, to the likes of Miguel Mir and Michel Garrido as well. So he's going to sit on the pole position in KA100 Masters, presented to you by Alessandro's Racing.
Yeah, I mean, a pretty exciting qualifying session there for our KA Masters guys, some of the veterans of our sport. And yeah, I mean, it's good stuff from these guys. I mean, really, it's 3/10 for your top 6, even top 7, right? So there's a few guys down there like Scott Carapalati and a few others that I'm surprised to not be further up the field. So I suspect this race is going to be a barn burner here for KA Masters, and I'm excited to see what these guys got, Caleb.
Yeah, of course, they always deliver when it comes to that, and other people that always deliver is our partners here at Kart Chaser. So let's hear a little bit from them.
7-tooth rear sprocket. I need some more chain lube, and I need it probably as soon as like tomorrow. Dude, are you even listening? Like, we need this to run this weekend.
Want anything else?
What do you mean?
I already got it in the Kart on Acceleration Kart Racing's online store, bro. All orders over $200 get free shipping.
Oh, throw in a set of tires.
Done.
Everything you need, all in one place, and shipped to your door for free on orders of $200 or more. Exclusions apply. Shop AKR.com.
Welcome back. Engines are fired up, and so are the drivers here for X30 Jr. first half. Set to go underway, warming up their tires, getting ready to roll out for their first of 4 flying laps. X30 Jr. presented by Rollison Performance Group. You can see some gamesmanship already happening, right? Some drivers trying to slot in line. They don't want to lead the pack here, and this is a little bit like what we see in Monza for the F1 races, right, where they're trying to get in line and figure out where they want to be come the first lap. So a lot of these guys, their lap is already a throwaway, but they know it takes a couple laps for the tires to come in, so it's okay to throw away this lap as long as you can get in line by lap 2 or 3. So I'll be interested to see what these guys end up doing. These 2 drivers up here have already sort of a little unwritten agreement. They're going to work together and see what they can do.
Yeah, it seems like in the junior and senior classes that lap 3 has really been, I guess, go time for these guys, right? That's really prime time. It seems like that's when most people are setting their fastest lap times. When it comes to the lap 4, it seems like it falls off just a little bit, but still pretty quick as well. But in the first 2 laps, it's all leading up to that 3rd lap. That seems to be the flyer for everybody here, Alex.
Yeah, we see a couple drivers up there. Like you said, Caleb, lap 3, lap 4 is the lap. We've seen some guys do it on lap 2, but so far it's Lucas DeLongchamps and Aiden Young leading these guys and leading the field as well, 49.9 and a 50 flat. They're going to need to go a lot quicker than that. We've seen times in the low 48s for X30 Jr. I mean, they're creeping up on what we see in the X30 Sr category. So these guys have been absolutely rolling all weekend long here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. So like we mentioned, right, with some of the gamesmanship that we saw and some guys backing each other up, they're about 2 seconds off from what we can expect later in this qualifying session. So now that everyone's gotten the line, everyone's gotten their order set up here, we see a few guys on their own. That's the 7-11 there of Tristan Murphy. He's catching the back of Aiden Young, so he might be on an absolute flyer here. He's going to get a lazy toe, but it's a double toe down the back straightaway as the top 3 drivers enter turn 12 here. Lucas DeLongchamp, the first guy to cross the line for lap 2. What's it gonna post? A 49.4, 49.4, 49.3 for Murphy, 49.3 for Santino, Dora de Miguel. So he's gonna go to P1, but they're still a ways off from what we can expect from these guys.
Yeah, definitely there. So a good lap there by Santino. Tristan Murphy finds himself in 2nd. DeLongchamps falls back to 3rd. Young in 4th. Rodriguez down in 5th. That's your top 5 here as it stands. Only a couple hundredths of a second separates your top 2 and a 10th of a second back there from 3 and back almost to 5th there. So very, very tight-packed field, and it's continued to be that way. But like I said, lap 3 was the lap to do it. It's currently lap 3 for these guys. As long as they can keep a clean lap and not catch traffic here, this is going to be some of the fastest lap times that we see in this qualifying session, Alex.
Yeah, here, Lucas Longchop again rounds your final corner. What's it going to post? A 49.2, 49.1 now for Santino. He's going to retake the top spot. A bunch of drivers in the 49.1, 49.2 range, but I want to mention that the breeze has picked up, and it's cooled down a degree or 2 here. I mean, I'm a Florida boy, right, so I can feel it more than a few. We saw one driver go around there and exit of turn 1. That's the 7:30. Let's see if we can get a name to the number there. That is Joaquin Camporino. He's right now in 14th, but he's going to be his qualifying session's essentially done and dusted there. But like I mentioned, the breeze picked up, the clouds have come out, now the sun's back, so ever-changing weather conditions here at Homestead.
Yeah, definitely. I guess the hardest weather to predict here in Miami Homestead. As it stands, still Santino in that first spot, a 49.114 for him. 0.04 of a second back for Juan Jose Paramo. Tristan Murphy on provisional pole position here, a 48.968 for him, 0.3 faster than Santino, who finds himself now down into that 2nd spot. Paramo still in that 3rd spot. DeLongchamps in 4th, and Young rounds up your top 5 here in X30 Jr. presented by Rollison Performance Group.
Yeah, Tristan Murphy, I mentioned him earlier. He was in the prime spot. He was the 3rd guy in line behind Lucas DeLongchamp and Aiden Young, so he got a really monster toe down those long straightaways here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. So he's right now leading them at a 48.9. I mean, I expect times to be in the mid to low 48s here for the X30 Jr. guys. I mean, who knows what the track is like, right? With rubber getting laid down, if you're not at the head of the game, it might catch you off guard with how much grip is being laid down.
Yeah, of course, definitely. Like you said, as the weekend goes on and as the day goes on, there's more and more rubber that continues to get laid down as all these guys come in, and that's going to be the end of their session. As it stands in this group, Tristan Murphy going to be on the provisional pole position, you could say, with a 48.968, but we are yet to see the likes of Turner Brown and Enzo Binmontien go out for this session coming up next here, Alex.
Yeah, for sure. There's a bunch of guys, right? We got, like you said, you got Turner Brown, Enzo Fittipaldi, Ty Fisher, Max Whalen, Nathan Dupuis, Jackson Wolney, even Sarah Bradley, Vanchev as well, right? So Dago Diaz, he was fastest in happy hour yesterday. So a bunch of guys that I expect to be rocket ships here in the X30 junior category. There's a little look at the 793 of Diego Diaz. He's going to be the guy that they're all chasing. He's leading them surprisingly to the green here in qualifying, so maybe he feels confident, but there's Enzo Fittipaldi right now, to me, in the best spot to be behind the guy who they're all chasing.
Yeah, of course. Enzo Fittipaldi is, I guess, first up to chase Diego Ardiles, right? So he's definitely going to be the one with that fire in his belly trying to get up there and set in those fast lap times. So Diego Ardiles first across the line, Fittipaldi right behind him. Let's see what it looks like when they cross the stripe next time by.
Yeah, Ardiles right now extending his advantage a little bit over Enzo Fittipaldi. Then we have a little bit of a train by the Speed Concepts guys there, as we see, I believe that might have been Dupuis there missing the corner. There's Alexander Vanchev. We saw how quick he was in the KA category, looking to be just as quick in X30 Jr. So the man with the DHL yellow suit is absolutely flying so far. There's Ty Fisher as well. He was pretty quick this morning in warm-up, so let's see what he can do.
Yeah, of course, and we know this first lap isn't going to be the fastest that they set. But let's see where they stack up. Obviously, that's the time to beat is currently, it belongs to Tristan Murphy in the 711 cart, was a 48.9 if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 48.968 for Tristan Murphy. This time by for Enzo Fittipaldi. What does it look like? Obviously, not going to be able to get it done off the bat. A 49.560 for him. 0.6 of a second to find for Enzo Fittipaldi and company.
I'm really impressed with Diego Diaz, right? I mean, he's all on his lonesome there. No draft, nobody to help him. He throws a 48.9 down on lap 1. So the RPG driver absolutely flying. Turner Brown got a decent toe behind him at the end. That's last year's Supernats winner. So Turner Brown looking to roll off the momentum that he had from last year's major win. He was one of the young rising stars that we saw last year, and it looks to be more of the same this year in the junior category. Speed Concepts has some of the hot talents that we can expect to see when they move up to senior, maybe next year or 2 years from now. Diego Diaz, top spot, 48.7. Turner Brown, 48.8. And Tristan Murphy from the slow group holding on to that third spot so far. Vanchev goes fourth. Fittipaldi fifth, 49 flat. 48.7 is the time to beat. They were 48.1s yesterday in happy hour, though.
Yeah, of course, 48.1s, so definitely a little bit of time yet to find. 2 more times around for these young drivers. There goes Turner Brown, a move on Enzo Fittipaldi. Wanted a lead, so Turner Brown getting ahead of Fittipaldi, and now Enzo Fittipaldi going to follow Turner Brown around this hot lap. Hopefully, Turner Brown didn't lose too much time making that pass. So let's see what it looks like this next time by when he crosses the stripe. Turner Brown currently sits in second. Ardiles in that RPG, all on his lonesome, still on provisional pole position as it stands here, Alex. Ardiles across the line, that time by, he improves a 48.588, and Turner Brown out of nowhere, a 48.494, almost a 10th of a second quicker than Diego Ardiles that time by, Alex.
Yeah, this is the money lap, right? Lap 3 for a lot of guys is the lap, but what that last lap from Turner Brown tells me is that this is the lap that he expects to be quick, right? He's already pulling away a little bit from Fittipaldi. I liked his line a little bit more than what I saw from the KR driver there through turns 2 and 3, and after the hairpin, extending a gap again through the carousel. Now that cart is rolling, Caleb.
Yeah, of course, and you see that gap, like you said, opening up a little bit to Fittipaldi, who currently finds himself in that 7th spot. Turner Brown on that provisional pole position. This is going to be the final time around, if I'm not mistaken. They may have one more to go. This time by for Diego Ardiles across the line. Can he improve? He does, a 48.530. The checkered flag is out, though. Turner Brown can improve. So it's going to be Ardiles on that provisional pole position. Fittipaldi can improve behind Turner Brown. He's in 3rd. Bradley finds herself in 4th. Vanchev in 5th. Woney in 6th. Romalo currently in 7th. Tristan Murphy in 8th. Ramirez in 9th. And Santino Dora de Miguel in 10th here, Alex.
Wow, I mean, Diego Ardiles, no toe, no draft needed for the RPG driver. 48.4 by himself. That is the benchmark for these X30 juniors entering the pre-finals later today. There's a good look at Alan Isambard, the guy that those shifter drivers were all chasing. That's the hometown hero. he has more laps here than I'd say almost anybody who's ever driven a shifter on this place. So Isambard right now, I mean, we heard of Major Myers as well. He right now is the guy that they're all chasing.
Yeah, of course, Alan Isambard at the moment is the guy to beat. As the one and only Xander Clements now joins me in the booth. A lot of people have said and predicted that Alan Isambard could be the one to take the win here this weekend and snag it away from the big man, Danny Formal, your Supernats 26 champion.
Well, one thing is for sure with Danny Formal is that he's got an extra reason to fight this weekend. We got to catch up with Danny earlier yesterday and talk to him. And while he was about a 10th off, as A.J. Myers even described in his prediction for Alan Isambard to win, Danny Formal has had quite the last few months in terms of a roller coaster of emotions. Of course, with a Super Nationals win, but also with the loss of a longtime mentor and the man who really helped kickstart his sports car career and gave him a job opportunity for a couple of seasons at Patrick Otto Madsen in the fall of 2023. We caught up with him on something really cool he's got going on this weekend.
All right, Danny, first of all, let's talk about the session that just happened. You didn't make too many laps. You came out kind of late. What was the thought process behind that?
Alan Isambard has more laps than me around this place. He beat AJ last year. He's quite quick around here. I wanted to see just where he put the go-kart, how his go-kart looked, how his gearing was. He was a little faster than me, I think half a tenth, or not a lot, but I just want to see it. I haven't seen him all weekend. So 12-minute session. These MGs come in lap 3, lap 4, so I knew I had enough time to go out and do my run. So nothing really behind it. Just wanted to kind of check out the competition. But yeah, it was a good session. We did some changes from the session before. I was happy with them. Still missing a little bit. We had our B engine on today, so I think we have a little bit left in the tank, let's say. Been working with the new carburation with this new fuel, this Sunoco fuel. We got it pretty good in the Aspen, obviously, in Vegas, but now it's different fuel, so we've been up and down with jetting just to try to find what we like. We haven't found exactly what we like yet, but we're getting there. So yeah, super happy, super grateful for my mechanic Patrick, Mike, and Alberto, everyone in RPG so far, and yeah, it's going well.
Obviously a special weekend for you this weekend. You're running a new helmet and a tribute to someone who's very special in your career, and particularly getting you into the car racing scene.
For sure, I lost like a father figure to me about 3 months ago. He passed away. It was very difficult to get that phone call. Like you said, without him, I'm not anywhere. I'm racing go-karts for the rest of my life. He gave me the shot. I took it with both hands, and we won a lot of races together. And this was his track. This was Patrick's track. This is what he loved. He came here 3-4 times a week. I'm so happy that I could represent him with this helmet. I gave him this helmet when I stopped working with the team in 2019. 2020. At the end of 2021, I made this helmet for Vegas. As you can see, it has all the names of everyone that's helped me in my career till that point. A lot more people now. But here's my friend, one of my best friends, Patrick, in my first podium in VIR. My first race ever with the car. We finished second in Pro-Am. So it's huge. I'm so happy I could wear this helmet today and yesterday. And just this was his track. He's riding with me right now. So yeah. I don't want to get too emotional, but I want to send a big hug to Isa, to Victoria, to Derek, to Elaine, all his family. He's with us, and yeah, I felt him with him today, and yeah, he'd be happy, he'd be proud of me, he'd be proud of all of us. So yeah, a very touching moment for me, for the family, and hopefully I could give him a win this weekend.
Very, very cool gesture here from Danny Formal this weekend. So he's got a little bit more than just himself and pride trying to go and get a trophy as he returns to the racetrack he spent quite a few years growing up at, and then, as he mentioned, quite a few years working with Patrick Otto Madsen and the AMR Motorsports team and company that he had built before passing away at the end of last year to be here. So as we get set to go for Pro Shifter. We did read your comments there. We do apologize about the leaderboard just going away for the last couple sessions. Got it all back and sorted now, and we're going to get to see all of the best drivers in the gearbox category get after it here. One total group session for it. Alan Isambard, Gavin Bailiff, Danny Formal, and Mateus Morgado have been the leading quartet. Vincenzo Saraceno got pretty close in warm-up, though, and was an impressive run for him on that Maranello chassis.
Yeah, it seemed like Morgado was hiding from us in that first warm-up session there, Alex. I mean, sorry, you, Xander. So yeah, so for Morgado, definitely We don't know his pace this morning. We know he was super quick yesterday, found himself in the top 5 there. In the back of your screen, Michael Riccio as they get set to get fired off there. Vincenzo Cerasino, Anthony Martella, Cooper Becklin, the new driver for the Rawlson Performance Group team this weekend. There you go, Anthony Martella, the young Canadian in his sophomore season in this shifter class, as they all get set to go out. Alan Isambard leads the way with Danny Formal right behind him as we get set to go.
And again, here as we are just 2 qualifying sessions away from heat races. We'll be going straight into them. But if you're watching live on our free coverage right now, this is the first of the 2 final sessions you get to watch for free. Once Pro X30 qualifying is all wrapped up, we're moving exclusively to our KC Premium member subscription for pre-finals, last chance qualifiers, and main events. It includes our near 40 race schedule of races for 2024. Of course, the Super Nationals 27 will be fully free to view, but for the entire SKUSA Winter Series, SKUSA Pro Tour, US Pro Kart Series, RMC Winter Trophy, RMC Trophy Final, the Stars Championship Series, and a number of regional and club events in 2024. If you want to watch them all, $9.99 a month. It's that join button down below. Make sure to hit that and become a KC Premium member, and it's going to start again with heat racing here later on today. We've got these 2 qualifying sessions, and we'll switch the live feed over. For now, though, you're watching Alan Isambard as he was the first one out on the Sodi Racing USA by PK Sports machine. Like Danny said, like everyone said, this kid has spent quite a bit of laps around here. For a bit of background about Alan, we've seen him every year since we've been streaming the SKUSA Winter Series. Even when we were just covering it as a social media brand, he was able to just get started in running Pro Shifter. But before that, he had grown up around this racetrack and at West Palm Beach International Raceway when it was operational, and his dad and him a small kart shop, and mainly had a lot of customers that would come and ask Alan to drive alongside them, to coach them. So he'd be out here driving sometimes as many as 4 days a week, working on go-karts and getting to get more and more seat time. And that makes him such a great competitor to go head-to-head with when we get the national circuit to come to town here, because he knows every nook and cranny, every crack, every bump, every curb on this racetrack by heart, and he could probably drive it blindfolded and still put it on the pole. So when he goes head-to-head with these guys, we've seen him slowly progress higher and higher as a level, as a driver, and he's getting closer and closer, not just here at getting a big-time win over the rest of these guys, but beyond that with the national championship calendar that he's lined up this year with the Sodi Racing USA boys. However, first lap completed, now down by the line. Isambard with his first lap really at full speed is a 46.3. Formal 46.23 for Danny Formal. Gavin Bailiff 5th there just up the road from him on the TKG Kart Republic.
Yeah, what a lap there by Danny Formal. Goes to provisional pole. Isambard falls to 2nd. Vincenzo Cerasino. We saw him really quick in the warm-up earlier this morning. A 46.491 for him. 2/10 off of the big man, Danny Formal. And there goes Vincenzo. Mateus Morgado in 4th. A 46.641 for the Brazilian.
And he got tripped up right there behind Vincenzo. Had to pop it back in gear coming out of turn number 5. So this will not be a good lap for either driver. Vincenzo Cerasino in the 71 or Mateus Morgado in the number 62. We'll see if the big man's going to do another lap. He will. So will Isambard as they cross the line. Isambard 45.86. Formal cannot improve. 46.99. So Alan Isambard now up by 3.5 tenths here in qualifying. Bailiff goes a little better. He'll jump to 3rd. Cerasino 4th. Anthony Martella able to move up the leaderboard there. He moves into 5th, nips his teammate as Morgado got tripped up on that lap, but Alan Isambard is flat flying right now there in the number 53. He'll come to see the checkered flag this time by on lap number 4. Doesn't necessarily need to go faster, I don't think, because he's got a pretty big cushion, but he looks like he's still pushing. He'll come all the way down the backstretch and be the first one across the line. Can anyone knock off this South Florida native, this hometown hero, trying to get a sweep of the weekend here and started off strong? Alan Isambard across the line. He'll get another lap if he wants it even. Beat the checkers. Didn't go faster though. Formal does, but he hits the checkered flag. Does not improve. Morgado to 3rd. Isambard, a little bobble there.
A big off there by Alan Isambard, and that's going to end his qualifying session here, but it's going to be important. I think Danny Formal got the checkered flag that time.
They all did, so nobody's going to beat him. He's got it. Alan Isambard is your pole award winner in Pro Shifter, presented by PSL Karting and Inter MS. Formal, Morgado, Cerasino. Gavin Bailiff did not improve on that final lap, and it cost him. He falls down the boards to 5th, but by nearly 3/10 of a second. Alan Isambard hits the pole position button over your reigning Super Nationals champion here. 4-time Super Nats winner Danny Formal will join him on the front row. Morgado's Pro Shifter debut puts him third. Saraceno, Bailiff, Martella in sixth there. An impressive run for the Canadian. And then it's Justin White, Michael Riccio, Nick D'Andrea, and then Skitchy Barnes able to outdo Frank Runco in the Master Shifter duel. Cooper Becklin down in 11th, Justin Garrett in 12th, and Jared Ramnarayan in 14th in the merged 14-driver total run group. 12 Pro Shifters, 2 Master Shifters, and the scale line does seem to have a bit of a backlog, so Pro X30 will be going your way. But you can see the American flag, the SuperKarts USA flags, they are blowing in the wind. It's already picking up more than just a little bit breezy here in sunny South Florida. You've got Pro X30 action coming your way here when we return for the final qualifying session. And again, just a reminder before we get to it is to make sure that you're a KC Premium member. Hit that join button down below for $9.99 a month to watch the pre-finals and main events of all of our races this season, beginning today with the first day of the 2024 national season. So we'll go to commercial and we will come right back after.
Behind the wheel, huh?
Yeah, I've been shooting for 3 years and I've never got to drive.
Well, you're gonna need some more gear than just your helmet. Why don't you go to shopakr.com. They got their inventory online and they'll ship it the same day if you order before 5:30 p.m. Eastern.
They got shoes?
Yep.
Gloves?
Yep.
Rib protectors?
Got those too.
Can they make me go fast?
No.
Here at Acceleration Kart Racing, we've got everything you need to get on track. What happens next? Well, that's on you. Check us out online at shopakr.com.
Here at MPG Motorsports, our main goal is to provide the best pathway into professional motorsports for our entire team, drivers and mechanics alike. We're based out of Whiteland Raceway Park in Indiana. For more information, contact us at chase@mpg-motorsports.com.
So here's a look at your pole sitter, Alan Isambard there. We saw him get the line where he was able to do one more lap around. This is a look at that pole lap, I believe, for the number 53. Just a really clean run all the way through. It was very narrow as we saw coming out of turn number 5, but overall, your pole man in Pro Shifter is going to be one of the Sodi Racing USA PK Sports entries, the number 53 of Alan Isambard. Now we move back to single speed action for the final class on the lineup, our final qualifying session before we go to the KC Premium members exclusively for pre-finals and finals. Speed Lab Racing Engines X30 Pro, or Pro X30 I should say. The first group of 2 getting set to go green here. In total, 40 drivers make up the entry list here this weekend. It's a strong field, and we talked about it a good bit. We talked to a handful of drivers. Overall, Austin Garrison, a lot of good points from a guy who knows this place inside and out and has won here before. Ryan Norberg's won here many times, won multiple Winter Series championships. He enters as fastest in final practice. Wasn't the quickest in warm-up, though. Give that one to Alessandro DiTullio, who was ninth at the end of Friday. Other drivers, again, he mentioned Danilo Albanese looked a little better as well. His teammate, he moved up to 5th in the final standings in the warm-up session. And overall, I mean, the top 10 to 15 are about where we'd expect them, which again moves. That means our second group, our back half, I don't know if anyone may stand out, maybe not. Finnegan Bailiff is in there on the TKG KR. He could put a surprise lap together. Nicholas Terlecki is one of the first few below the cut line. At one point yesterday, he was inside the top 10 in practice time, so he could put a good lap down as well. And the rest of the field's a lot of new names or names that are just looking to make themselves known to everyone. So that's all coming your way here when we get the scale line a little bit further down. And we've got it mostly cleared up now before Pro X30 gets set to roll. So we will continue to wait here in the holding pattern and get set to go green. So as the engines come to life here, you can see on your screen one of the Kart Republics that will lead us off. That's the 98 HM Propella entry of Gianluca Savaglio. One of the late silly season moves here. The driver we've seen for the most part with either OTK or Beryl Art chassis underneath him. This is his first race weekend, to my knowledge, on a Kart Republic. Might be his first time driving the car. Was a bit off, and again, just below where he needed to end up at the end of Friday. So hopefully the number 98 can find some more speed to get closer. He rolls off alongside the number 80. I believe that might be, that's Lucas Nanji, his teammate in the HM Propella camp. There's a look at the bright lime green and black TV kart, race lap karting of Vinny Miskelis. One of a couple drivers making the jump up from the 100cc KA Senior semi-pro class to the Pro X30 class this year. Bit off though, of course. Probably expected maybe a little more. We'll see what he can get. There's Henry Wheeler back of the screen, backing off there on that PSL karting Bureau Art, trying to find a little more separation before he gets after it for his lap, as we are really tight and a little bit wild there through turn 5. Couple drivers coming together as the pack is still pretty tight here, Caleb.
Yeah, no, look, Nicholas Terlecki, who made contact with, I'm not too sure if that was another Holtz Racing Development driver. So not good for Nicholas Terlecki here so far at the start. On your screen is Vinny Miskelis in that TV kart as they get ready to set their first lap times of the day here, Xander.
Yeah, Miskelis going to go by on Gianluca Savaglio down by turn number 1 and pass behind him as well. Austin Perrin was the first driver across the timing loop there in the number 33, and so is one of the next ones to go. And I believe Dustin Salavarria and Brandon Carr, they might be two drivers that were just in to the fast group, because I don't see them out here on the circuit now. We'll confirm that in a moment as they all roll through. That's Nanji on your screen, just ahead of a couple in the number 80 HM Propella machine. Back behind him there might be the 43. Sorry, Noah Jackson in the 76, the 43, one of the many other new Kart Republic faces here this time. Nazareno Lopez Cesarado in the 36 is in this group. Josh Holtz and Terlecki first and third. Miskelis second. Ignacio Diaz is fourth. He's on one of the Inter-MS Kart Republics from Argentina. Then you have Dustin Salavarria's Karting Collective Sodi Kart. He's further back in the pack. He drops into fourth on his opening circuit. Savaglio is down in ninth. So it's Nicholas Terlecki, who had a podium at the U.S. Pro Kart Series in Cincinnati and the fall of last year, had been running the KA100 Sr class for the last couple of seasons, made the jump into the pro class at the end of last season, said, I just want to go out there and gain some respect here. I want them to respect me back. I'll give it, and hopefully have my speed show enough where I can run towards the front of the field. He's not where he needs to be right now, having to go through the slow group, and he's in a bit of traffic as he makes a move down to the inside of turn 1, but at least that lap was, decent. Well, he couldn't get by the number 43 machine in the first corner.
Yeah, Nicholas Terlecki obviously not going to help this lap out. Not going to end up going quicker for him as Salaveria moves back up to P2. Trappa in third, Savalio in fourth, Battalier in fifth, and Miskelis falls back to that sixth spot, Xander.
Yeah, Miskelis dropping down and a big gap from Nicholas Terlecki back to the rest of the pack there, about 4/10. He did end up getting by the 43. That's William Botillier in another one of the HM Propella Kart Republic drivers, who falls back a little ways. Terlecki might be set up for a good fourth lap. That'll be all she wrote, though, here, and that's if he doesn't catch traffic beforehand. Had to go by Botillier, and I think he's going to catch some more traffic here before it's over. That's one of the Trappa brothers, I think, up the road from him as he goes with a move down in turn one, and again, not deep enough to get down to the inside, so he's not going to get to go any faster, and that's going to put him at risk of losing quickest in the group, because Gianluca Savalio right now, 48.473, creeps up to a 10th off the pace of Terlecki. Francesco Marenghi in the number 32 is also looking strong. He's the Magic Kart USA driver, the lone one they mentioned as they're bringing out their new X30 chassis here this weekend. He's third at a 48.484, but Terlecki still mired in traffic, trying to get by. Gonna get by here on lap number 4. Will not get another lap at it, though. That's gonna do it. Can Gianluca Savalio, who was one of the first drivers out of the scale line there on that white and orange Kart Republic, be able to cross the loop and go quickest? Here he comes at the line. No, but yes to Francesco Marenghi on the Magic Kart. 48.37. He'll nip Terlecki by 4 thousandths.
Yeah, and AJ said they were testing out that Magic Kart and seemed to be working at the moment for Francesco Marenghi as he goes fastest of this second group. Terlecki able to hold on just to that second spot. Gianluca Savalio in third, Josh Holtz up in a fourth, and Lucas Nanji rounding up your top 5 here in this second group.
So there you go. 48.377 is the benchmark for the fast group in Pro X30 that'll be hitting the racetrack here momentarily. Francesco Marenghi, Nicholas Terlecki, Gianluca Savalio, Josh Holtz, Lucas Nanji, and William Botillier tied up there at 5th and 6th. Dustin Salaveria, Henry Lepard, Camilo Trappa, and Nazareno Lopez Cesarado decently close from about 3rd on back. Or 4th, or actually I should say really 5th on back. 5th back to 10th, only about 2/10 to 3/10 of a second. The first 4 with decent laps in the low 48s to mid 48s. But we're going to expect to probably see some high 47s here this time. 47.9s and 47.8s were quick enough for warm-up, and I think we're going to go a whole lot quicker here in qualifying. So you get that bigger split when you go with the higher horsepower classes through the field. It's not as tight lap time wise, a little more in the hands of the driver with more to take care of, a stickier tire as well, and of course a longer braking zone as Ryan Norberg leads us out. The number 2 plate for 2024, he's trying to change that back to a 1 plate. Won the US Pro Kart Series Championship last year, came up just short at the SKUSA Pro Tour title, and look at the train he's got behind him, everybody warming up, but you will not see them probably go by the RPG Cosmic. They're happy to follow him.
Yeah, everybody's going to be happy to follow. It seems like Jacob Kolar in that mix as well, Ernesto Rivera, and it seems like there's another group that's wanting to get past, that's Harley Keeble. Now I think getting around Jacob Kolar there. Keeble wants to go, it seems like, and now Ryan Norberg is going to go. So everybody's going to now start their flying laps here. Kolar currently sits in that second in the train. Ryan Norberg off to a good start here as of now, Xander.
Yeah, you got a little bit of a gap here. He's out of the tow now. This pack is this is terrible right now for a lot of those guys.
Wow.
That's way too close here to start. Hopefully they can cycle out. I wouldn't be surprised to see a couple bail out on the straightaway and just drop to the back of the field, because I don't think there's going to be a lot of good times out of this group. Here they are. There's more of them fighting. Massimino, Dalton Haynes side by side through turn number 4. Blake Nash is there as well as they all try to find a place in line. He's going to bail, and Haynes back in on Massimino. These two are really going at it in qualifying. Very silly to do that on the opening laps, but it's at least bought them a gap out front. So now Paulie has some clean air, and Thomas Nevo's in the mix of it on the TKG Kart Republic, and he's got a teammate pulling up behind him. That is going to be the is that the 91 machine, I believe, lined up right there at the end of that pack? No, 31. Jorge Ortiz going to go by Nevo in the final turn. So nobody going to get a good opening lap in any of these groups. This one looks decent. Ernesto Rivera, Austin Garrison, Jacob Kolar. That's not a bad trio to be with, as Norberg will be the first one up the leaderboard. He'll go to 6th on the opening lap.
Yeah, but for Paulie Massimino and Dalton Haynes, really stepping on each other's toes there. So not going to help out their qualifying, but it seems like Dalton and Paulie have found space there on the track, because that's another pass by 2 of the Kart Republics in there. This time by for Ryan Norberg, it's going to be one of his fastest laps. It should be. One of the markers that we're going to see by Ryan Norberg as he gets ready to cross the line. On screen now, Ernesto Rivera and Austin Garrison. Jacob Kolar right there, and Paulie Massimino in company as well. Ryan Norberg this time by. Looks like a flyer for him. What does it look like across the stripe? Ryan Norberg, a 48.105. Harley Keeble up in a P2. And Francesco Marengi holds on to P3.
For the moment, still a lot more to go by. Donovan Mania will jump up to 12. Bumps Austin Garrison back. Ernesto Rivera, no better than 8th right now on lap 2, and Garrison knows it. He's got to go by, so he'll go by Checo there in turn number 4, and that'll give him only the 4th lap really to probably put something together. Harley Keeble by himself looking okay at the moment, and since the pack kind of all split apart behind him with everyone trying to line up, follow, and pass each other, he's actually in a decent position on the racetrack. But Norberg, 48.105. How quick does he go here on lap 3? Is he going to break into the 47s yet? Here comes the number 2. Final turn, cross the line. Norberg, lap 3 is not quicker. He slows down. Keeble slows down. Garrison quicker. He'll go to 5th. Nash to 3rd. And there's the new quick time. ADT to the top of the boards, 48.042 for the interim Kart Republic driver. 600's up on Norberg, and his teammate Danilo Albanese is gone as well, but Austin Garrison's looking good this time by. So there's Albanese. DeTulio and Albanese are in traffic. This 4th lap will probably not be that great. I don't know if they can improve on what they had. Ramos is right there. So is one more, but we're coming to the checkers. So here comes the run to the line. You can see them further back. Norberg, what do you have left? Garrison, finally a clean lap here for the 92. Down the back straight away. The number 2 plate through the final turn. Needs to go better. Final time, he does not. Harley Keeble does. Garrison does. Jacob Kolar, 48.018 for the kid from Key West on the final lap. He stuns the field. And Jacob Kolar, at the moment, it holds. The rest of the pack still to go. A 48.018 goes 24 thousandths better than Alessandro DeTulio, towing off the back of Austin Garrison, who drops into 7th. But what a run. Hometown kid here. Jacob Kolar and his dad, Jerry, spent his entire childhood driving 4 hours each way every weekend from Key West, Florida, all the way up here to Homestead. They'd sleep in the van overnight while working on the go-karts here, and his career has kind of almost been done multiple times over. Jacob Kolar, you are going to start on the pole for Pro X30 here in Homestead by just 200ths over second. Look at the rest of the top 10, so stacked. DeTulio, the Supernats champ, Bonilla, Norberg, FIA Euro champ Danilo Albanese, and on back to Ernesto Rivera, Austin Garrison. Diego Ramos slips into the top 10 late. There he goes 8th, Thomas Nevo 9th, and Harley Keeble 10th.
Wow. What a qualifying session did we just witness here, Xander. Jacob Kolar, pole position for him. Amazing. Setting that perfect lap time, was in really good space and was able to get it done. Unlucky for Ryan Norberg, lost it just in the last lap. Austin Garrison as well. Seems like they just didn't find the pace there in this last session. But what a qualifying session that we just witnessed. Jacob Kolar starting on pole for the pre-final.
And that wraps up our free coverage here, folks, for the pre-finals and main events. They're about to get underway, kicking things off with TKG Kart Republic Mini Swift in just a few moments. So if you'd like to watch it, hit that join button down at the bottom of your screen to become a KC Premium member. If not, the replays will be posted later this week, and we'll be back live again tomorrow for warm-up and qualifying for our free preview. So make sure to tune in if you can, because we're going back live with racing in just a few moments.